Hello, and welcome to the Captain's Table, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul, Berserker01, Batman Shelley, your humble host and space bartender here at the Astropub, your space bar at the end of Twitch. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. We got a good one for you. Tonight is episode 68 of the Captain's Table. That's right. We're at 68 episodes of the Captain's Table. Several people have already claimed... Yes.
I should have waited.
You should have raised one more? Yeah.
I know. I was like, next week, Paul. I'm supposed to be here next week.
Miss Hartz, you sound a little tinny. I don't know if you're using... I don't know if it's the mic or if it's picking up your webcam or something like that. But
Okay.
there. So yeah. Anyways, the Captain's Table, for those of you guys who haven't seen this before, is a community podcast where I bring in people from all over the Star Citizen community, all types of folks, to come talk about Star Citizen. It just so happens that we have three streamers and a reporter for this week. We were going to have 4 streamers and a reporter, and making Nakara feel left out, but he does stream. He streams on the relay station all the time. So we all have some connection to Twitch. But let's go around.
Have 4 streamers and
we're all pretty twitchy.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we were originally going to have Crucian Gaming here, but Crucian just installed his 900 the Optane drive. And when he installed his Optane drive, everything went tits up. Like, he literally installed it right before the actual release of, right before
Sponsored
the
by Intel.
Yeah, sponsored by Intel. We'll break your computers. We'll also spike your CPU usage in Star Citizen 3.0. Not that that means anything. Let's go around the table and say hello to all of the folks. We'll start with the head of the table with Miss Hartz. Miss Hartz, who are you? What do you do in Star Citizen?
I am Ms. Hartz. I am a streamer. Am I doing anything else? I used to do a podcast, but we haven't resurrected that. I used to do voice work, but that hasn't been going on. So yeah, I guess I'm still just a streamer, and barely that at times.
Do you still do your creative streams still, or have those?
Sometimes. I haven't been very good about keeping a regular streaming schedule lately, so it's kind of whatever I happen to be up to at the moment. So yeah, there's still some creative.
She has also joined the ranks of many of us who've moved to Austin. So there are many of us who have moved to Austin.
So are all of our... It's like the whole Star Citizen community just eventually going to congregate to Texas.
I think it's in direct protest to CIG, so we can have CitizenCon there. You guys are
exactly. We're just forcing it to happen.
This is our version of putting up a tent and camping out in front.
Yeah, waiting for it.
This is how dedicated Star Citizens are. They go all in. They buy houses and move to the location. They just don't camp out.
We can't camp out without good internet. How are we going to be able to play Star Citizen within a tent?
Exactly.
We need our rigs and everything. So just easier to move. Just it's that easy.
Austin is the Star Citizen mecca now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next, we have the man with the financial plans, the guru of gurus, whom long ago I had a rivalry with because Nakara would always post the latest things by half a millisecond. I would post and it would be literally less than a second between me posting something, and him posting something. God damn it, Nakara! You always beat me.
Hi.
Who are you, Nakara? What do you do?
I'm Nakara. I'm part of Relay. We cover Star Citizen, have covered Star Citizen in one form or another for almost 3 years now, and before that, I was a ardent denizen of the subreddit, and spent most of my life there. I talk about Star Citizen all the time, weekly on streams. We post transcripts on Relay, and also write articles. I haven't had one up recently. Have a lot of ideas for new ones, though, so I'm going to try and get on that. But I'm in the process of buying a house, too, so that's sort of taking up some time.
In Austin?
Not in Austin, not yet. No, that's
Soon, TM.
I guess I'll just have to be drawn there by the Star Citizen magnet eventually.
He'll have to make his way across the northern border, which would be.
Although they do call Alberta Canada's Texas, so there you go.
There we go. That works.
But yeah, that's me. I'm sort of everywhere around Star Citizen, and very excited about all the things that happened this week.
Awesome. We'll get to that here shortly. Next, we have the Space Bro himself, Space Bro of Space Bros, Pope of Star Citizen, Matachi. Who are you? What are you doing, Star Citizen?
Many blessings to you and all the others. No, I am Matachi. I currently am losing my voice still. I've been battling it back and forth all week long because of this horrible cold. But no, I stream Star Citizen primarily. I have Space Pro Gaming that works closely with everybody in the entire community. And we just love the game and follow all that stuff. We also have the Space Pro Show on Friday nights, where we talk about everything that we talk again about over here on the Captain's Table on Saturdays. So, lots of good stuff. And just looking forward to more content going down. Can't wait for the holiday live stream, which I don't know when that's happening, but hopefully somebody will tell me out there, CIG.
Please.
I'm excited about it because even though I'm not a super fan of Squadron 42, it's another piece of Star Citizen that we'll be able to play and go forward. So I want to know more. So,
awesome. Commander Z-Man, the man with the warthogs, the man.
No.
He doesn't all the single warthogs. All the single.
We can do that.
The commander of the Zulu group.
Zulu group, yep.
Mr.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. I'm Commander Z-Man. I primarily stream here on Twitch. I'm also located a lot around Twitter and Facebook. Involved in the community for, very damn long now at this point. Since like December of 2012.
Since you were known as me and my VW.
Yep. And well, I've always been known as Z. I had to go around and tell people, hey, I know my name is me and my VW, but my real name is Z. So, hello to all of you. I'm sure you know of me, if not.
Alrighty.
Talk about what we're excited about. I'm excited about all things.
Let's start about. Let's start
I
with you.
forgot to be excited.
Well, let's start with you, Z-Man. We're gonna go around the table. I'm gonna ask each person what they liked, what they didn't like, and what surprised them this week. So they have three options, and then everyone in the kind of the table can jump in if they want to comment on that or whatever. But we'll start with Z-Man because we should go in reverse order of the introduction. So Z-Man, what did you like?
Alphabetical order? Is that what we're doing?
Reverse alphabetical order. Almost, actually. If we just switch from
yeah.
Nakara and Miss Hearts.
What I liked. So what I liked was we passed. How much is it now?
170.
171.
171 as of like today. As of like
Crazy.
an hour ago or like 30 minutes ago.
Insane to me. That's just like mind blowing to me. So that what I liked. What I didn't like. I wouldn't say didn't like it, but the plots, the land plots, I'm a little leery about. I didn't. So that's as far as I'm going with that one. As far as didn't like it, and I'm leery about it.
I think there's some legitimate concerns, but at the same time, I think there are people who overblow it. Like CIG hasn't been very specific about where you can claim lands. I'm assuming that it's a frontier thing because that's
they were very specific about it.
No, but I mean like
any UE land that isn't a park.
That isn't a park, yeah, but does that mean that they're going, because people are assuming that's, so I can find land right on the outskirts of a city in the major planet, which I doubt.
I see your point. Yeah, okay.
Because you're like, I'll do that so I can put all the parts. That's the issue, is like, more than likely, these claims are going to be on the frontier, because that's what they're modeling it after, is old school land grants. So it'll be places where UEE wants people to go settle. They're like, hey, go over there and settle this shit, because we're tired of having it being wild nothing. So... But they don't say that, and so as a result, it gets confusing. And people are like, I'm going to go get a piece of land on Terra. Like, you don't.
Well, they don't say anything. The only thing
Yeah.
that they're selling you is the claim beacon.
Yeah.
They aren't selling you land, so that's something that's
Yeah.
already gotten out there into the people that don't follow.
I just feel like we're all gonna be those seagulls in Finding Nemo, going mine.
Fine.
Well, actually, here's one. This is the reason that on Reddit they were like, please go read the Q&A, because like, if you just go and grab a plot of land, you're probably screwing yourself like badly. If you don't know anything about the land you're grabbing, you're basically just buying lottery tickets at that point.
You're buying nice Vista. You know.
Well, it depends on what you're using the land for, what you're
Exactly.
trying to get out of it. I mean, it is a lot
true.
like choosing a ship.
Mhm.
You don't just choose any ship or the most expensive one or the cheapest one. It's what you plan to use it for and what you hope to get out of it.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Miss Hartz. That's why I don't understand why so many people are arguing about this land grab race. I mean, first off, there's more land than we have backers in the game available, and there will be probably even more by the time this actually even matters, right? By the time this thing actually goes live and it actually means something, there'll probably be well more land available for everybody. Secondly, like the car is saying, you have to actually research what you're getting. If you're one of mine, you can't just grab anything. You don't know what minerals are there
Right,
until you scan and
exactly. You want
survey.
it there.
Yeah. So it's not like Arcade that I played where there's a finite number of land and you can do anything with the plot as long as you have the right size plot. This is actually going to take research and time. And by the time you figure out where you want to be, I'll probably be able to earn the in-game money just to buy one. So I don't know why everybody's running around being crazy about this.
Also, the easy way to combat the whole concept, because even CIG says, no, you can't just run off before everybody else and claim all the land, is the easy way of getting around that is just saying, hey, we don't have the land instances this patch, but we're becoming in next patch, so now you can purchase beacons. And now everyone has the beacons if you want to purchase with in-game money, or you could have already purchased it with real money. And the problem that I had with a lot of the complaints is that this is the exact same concept that we've been selling. They've been selling concept ships like this forever. And people are like, well, why is it taking, like, why are you selling it? They're selling it now when the thing is so far away. And the answer is, why did they sell the Reclaimer or the Orion when it was so far away?
Or the Pioneer.
Or the Pioneer. The Pioneer is literally the thing that works with the land grants, and yet
That's
it's being
probably why
sold
they're
around the same
selling
time. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's like, well, it's going to be 2 years away. Then why are they selling the Pioneer 2 years away? The Pioneer's not going to be done for a year or two. Same question. Like,
Why did sell the Banu Merchantmen and they're
Yeah.
redoing
Oh, yeah.
it? You know, I mean, same reason, because
Yeah.
it was a
That was only 4 years ago. That was
only
like-
4 years ago. Yeah.
And it's not, and they're like just making it now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. It's not even close to done.
Just reconcepting it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's like begs the whole question. Is like this is not anything new for CIG. This
Yeah.
is something they've been doing for a long time. So I'm finding it weird that people who were have no problem with it before now suddenly are having tons of problems with it.
I think it would be a big problem if they were selling specific land.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
this is a really
Yes.
good place, and all of the gold will be here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you give us this much money, you get all the gold. No, it's literally you're buying a piece of digital paper that says you're allowed to have land, and
Exactly.
and an electronic stick.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it.
And the problem is
Huge
that
thumper.
the problem about the concept, oh, this is a feature for sale, where everything else was just a concept ship. No, all of those ships are features. The Orion is a feature. The Pioneer is a feature. The Reclaimer is a feature. They're features. You can't salvage unless you have the right tools. You can't mine unless you have the right tools. You can't fight unless you have the right tools.
And
you
that's
know?
what I was going to say. This is literally a tool.
Yeah.
Claim. This is just one piece of it, just like a ship. It's a tool and into a means. It's not. You're not guaranteed anything. You have to go find it. You have to figure out what you want. You have to actually do that, and you have to do a process.
You gotta-
It's not running that.
And
So-
also, it's only
explore a
UE.
crap ton to find what you want. Like, if
Yeah.
you want arable land to make a farm, well, you got to go find it. I mean, if you just rush off and like the first time you land somewhere, you just plop down your beacon. Well, I mean,
go for
if
it.
all you want is a piece of property and you don't care what it is, then that's fine. But other than that, you're not really taking up valuable land.
I want to recreate the scene from Far and Away with Tom Cruise.
There you go.
Run out and like say, "This is my land. Get off of me." You know?
Well, and that's the other thing is that people are saying, oh, this is a feature. It's like, it's not really a feature as much as it's a part of the immersion as well,
Yeah.
because you can still claim land by just plopping a outpost down in unclaimed territory or uncontrolled territory. In fact, that may even be more valuable because that's where going to be most of the better resources going to be. In UEE, you're going to have most places are going to have already been exhausted of resources.
It's going to be slow mining for minimal stuff in UE, and the higher risk areas is going to have higher rewards, just like they've talked about in the game the entire time. That's what it's going to be.
And people are like, well, it's just a stick for $50. It's like, yeah, it is just a stick for $50.
Yeah.
If you don't want it, then don't buy it. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a ship.
Exactly.
It's like
A ship is just a piece of paper. It's just literally a picture. Until
Same-
like my Banu Merchantman is a bunch of concept ships right now, or concept.
It's not even a
pictures
piece
right
of
now.
paper. Like a piece of paper, at least you could, like, if you get cold, you could burn a piece of paper.
It's PDF. It's
A
pictures.
ship, if it's,
Burn
like,
the
it's a
pixels.
digital ship, you get cold, and what are you going to do? I
Yeah.
mean, you could crash it into stuff, but feel the warm glow from your monitor, maybe, but
Yeah,
about it.
that's just that's just it. Like I have no problem with it. I think it's something that's very specific, like the Genesis Starliner or the Pioneer as itself, which didn't sell a whole ton of units. Like Genesis was the lowest selling ship. Is that right, Nakara?
Oh, it's incredibly low. It was, I think they sold about 200 of them.
Yeah.
I thought the gameplay was really cool. I liked the aspects that it introduced, but it's very niche.
Mhm.
Very niche.
And settling land is going to be very niche too, unless you're a miner with very specific ability.
I think for mining, it's going to be very useful.
wait, so you want we're going to allow people under the age of 18 in the game?
No,
But thank you,
No.
man. Thank you.
that was amazing.
Yeah. Minus, not minus.
Minus, not minus. Oh.
Okay,
Anywho,
so what I liked, what I didn't like, and what surprised me, Unleash the Kraken. That's
the
it.
Kraken. Oh, listen,
Unleash the Kraken.
I was almost tempted to vote for the Kraken just for the idea that I could say unleash the Kraken and then like as a means to jump into someplace, but I had to go with the Vulture just because we don't have enough starter ships that are like dedicated to a specific thing, and that's my cat crying. I don't know if you can hear that or not.
You want to know my
Yes.
my disappointment with the concept of the Vulture. I have an '83 Ford F-150. It's a piece of junk pickup truck, but the thing runs all the time. Anytime I go out, turn the key, it runs, and I like throw shit in the back of it and take it to the scrapyard or do whatever. So I don't want like a shiny new Vulture concept ship. I want like a beat up POS,
I think that's what the Vulture is.
tried but true. No, it's just like a pickup truck. It's gonna be all shiny and gleamy,
Well, no, it's a pickup truck with actual processing. It's more like a garbage truck. If it's
Yeah, it's
anything.
like a garbage
It
truck.
is
It's a
Drake,
garbage truck.
so it can't be too shiny.
No, it has to be a little industrial and look like some Russian guy got drunk and designed the whole thing. But
Like I want some ball peen hammer marks on the side, like stuff like that.
I mean,
like
if
each
you look-
like it comes off the assembly line, someone takes a hammer, hits it up, it's tough enough, move on. Like you have to see the hammer mark as a stamp of
Yeah.
approval.
I mean, if you look at the Pirate Caterpillar, they did a great job of roughing it up and kind of making it look dirty and grimy a little bit, just enough to make it look menacing. I hope they do the same thing if it is in the future.
No, I'm talking like I want rust, like holes, like I want things to falling off, Yes, multiple colors of paint.
Hair tie.
That's what she's crying. She found a hair tie, and she wants to tell us that she found a hair tie because she thinks it's a snake, because she thinks she's a good tough hunter.
Good kitty.
I'll turn up Miss Heart's volume a little bit, but it might be on her end.
Well, okay, it's probably better when I'm not leaning forward. Is this better?
Yeah, it's good. Is that good?
Is it good now?
Yeah, that's
Are we
much
there
better.
yet?
Much better.
Are you-
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
All right. So
I'll just
Matachi-
whisper into the microphone the whole time.
Oh, I like that.
Are we doing ASMRs? Hi chat. This is Paul. Let's talk about Star Citizen.
Let's go.
Let's go.
So it's turned into the 69th episode.
real
Yes.
quick.
We have to figure out some reason why this is the 69th and then next week doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a missing episode in there somewhere, right?
I think there was. There had to be.
Secret episode.
Oh, Matachi, What did you like? What did you dislike? And what surprised you?
Oh wow. Let's see. I liked the fact that they actually Disco had a great idea for a ship with a whole bunch of cannons on the side. I really wanted them to go with the
Like a
the
broadsider?
Drake constellation of the broadsider. That's what I was advocating for, the broadside, where it was like not typical and all that. Actually, I wanted to see that in a Drake capital ship, but then they predeterminedly went with a carrier, which I'm not super fan about. I didn't like, and I still don't like, the Vulture. I think we do need a small salvager in the game. I just don't really like their concept of it. I don't want to sit on top of a truck and drive in real quick and EVA to go salvage something off something and throw it in the back of my ship and try to run off. It'd be cooler if it was like called the Harpoon, and you could actually harpoon a wreck and drag it off the field, or something more along the lines of what the Prospector did.
That is distinctly out of Firefly, the
Yeah.
Reavers.
The Reavers,
Yes.
the Harpoons. Yeah.
Yes. I would be all over that. I can deal with like the junky rough cut type
Pure
thing, but I'm not a big fan of the whole like, oh, EVA, cut it off with two. I'm like, why wouldn't I use any other ship to do that? Because I could just EVA out of it and go cut parts off and use any other ship.
I think
the
the
Vulture be different.
I think the Vulture is going to be slightly different in the sense that when you put it in the back, it's kind of like a mulcher. It's like the mulcher inside the reclaimer, except tiny. So it comes in, it processes all the stuff and
See,
sorts
it's
it.
hard to visualize for me right now because they talk about you'd be able to grab like up to size 5 gun, but you could also process parts. So you'd have to have 2 storage areas on it. So to me, that automatically makes it sound bigger than small, right?
Well, it's probably going to be. I mean, it's going to be something like the size of the Prospector. We're not talking
Yeah.
small. You know.
So when I picture my ass sitting on top of a Prospector with like going over, like somebody described it last night as a what do they call those things to do the ice rinks?
Oh yeah, the Zamboni.
Zamboni. Somebody described it like a Zamboni. It's like I'm like, yeah, I'm just not feeling that.
It's going to have a tiny cockpit that you just use to get from point A to point B, and you get out of the cockpit and then go do your things, and that's it. It's not going to be something you use very
I just
well.
want to see something big from Drake, and I know it's kind of like anti-lore. They're not supposed to have capital ships because he's like, no, Drake, you can't do that. But I would like to see something like close to the size of Polaris, where it's like the smallest capital, where they're kind of like, but it's for like salvaging or something, and like have lots of guns.
It's a mobile
like,
space station. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's just a mobile space station. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right? And I think
Pocket
that would have
battleship.
been cool for two reasons, because you would have either had it be the broadside or the galleon. Those were the names I was going for, and it would have been like a mobile command center for pirates. But the aircraft carrier thing, I'm kind of like,
Well, you could have also called it the Hind, because that was the name of
true.
Sir Francis Drake ship, was the Golden Hind. So, and it would also fit in with like the, people like Hind, like like the helicopter Hind, the helicopter Hind.
Is it Drake Hind would be
The Drake
the
Hind
thing that
would be kind of
surprised
cool.
me. The thing that surprised me was they didn't raise the price of the Cutlass.
I guess
Surprised.
we're gonna have to wait for Nakar to get back, so we'll skip him for now and go to Ms. Hart's. What did you like? What did you dislike? And what surprised you?
So most of the time I've been playing with Star Citizen this week has been in game. So if I can start with what I didn't like, the network performance.
It was glorious. Who are you talking about? It's perfect.
It was good before PTU was released, and then they started playing with things, and they're still fine tuning it. So hopefully that'll get better. But yeah, that's made things. What I did like and what surprised. God, I'm trying to remember. What did I do in all?
It's pretty.
It's pretty. Oh God, it's pretty. That's more than just the last week, but yeah, that's. I guess what surprises me in general is how deep and rich 3.0 is. In that, like, have you walked around Levski? There's so much there. There's so many little things going on. There's an air control room at Levski.
That's busted.
That's just kind of buried.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of busted. I mean, there's a viewing room. There's this big mining cave system that if you just go walking around, there's all these little things that it's kind of nice to just sit there and take it in.
I was confused because when I went through Levski, there's actually, if you find it in the back, those back mining areas, there's actually an entire rack of rattlers just sitting there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who the
A gun rack?
like a missile rack? It's like 6 or 7 missiles all strapped up to like a mobile like one of those push carts. And it's like there are like 7 rattlers here. I could just take this and make some money off this. Why is someone just leaving this back here?
For someone to take and make money off.
But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff back there. It feels like there's going to be stuff back there as well. Like you're going to go back there like at a certain hour, and someone's going to be there and be like, "Hey kid, you want some death sticks?" You know, kind of thing.
The back alley transactions.
Yeah.
Yeah, Levski would be a good place for that.
You know, I got a job for you. You want to do it? And then leads you down this rabbit hole where you end up being like a pirate king or something like that. I don't know. It's just some crazy random adventures you can have.
Well, we're already drug running.
Yes, we are already drug running. By the way, what is it? It's a widow. I think is what it's called. Widow is the name of the drug. If you do a mission, it's not active right now, but if you do a mission where you have to transport widow, then screw the mission and go sell it. It's worth the reputation hit because widow is super expensive. So if you can sell that for like twice the amount of you'd make on a normal run.
As long
But
as
you
you
think
don't
you'd
turn
get a
around
crime
and copy
stat
your
for
account
that?
the next day.
You don't get a crime stat for doing that. But the problem is that the you can't sell the commodities right now. So
Well, hell. What surprised you, Miss Hartz?
Surprised me. I kind of put that both in together, I guess.
how beautiful it is, and
Yeah. I mean, I keep finding all these little hidden things that surprise me. Visually and part of the universe.
hold on, it's my cat meowing again. Thank you for the subscription there, Jake from Bend. I will do the thing soon. We don't do the things on Captain's Table because we're serious in our drinking. And
Serious.
Super
super serious. Waiting for Nakar to get back. I guess I could talk a little bit
This
about
is my serious face.
I think he's used to there being a lot more people on the show, so he thinks he has a lot more time.
Yeah, probably. I think the one thing that really surprised me was how good looking this game is.
It's a pretty game.
It's like just take a dragonfly out on a moon and just look around. It's ridiculous. Just fly low with
Follow
like a big,
the sunset.
yeah.
Yep.
So much fun to do. The never-ending sun.
Yeah, it's amazing, and each planet feels very unique. I thought they'd all feel very samey, but they do feel rather unique. The only moons underscore is going to get here and yell at me. The only moons that feel very similar is Selen and Delamar, but that's because one's an asteroid and the other one's kind of a regular moon. But you know, frickin' Yella feels very, very unique compared to Daymar, and Daymar almost feels like Mars. To be fair, it's like this very reddish red, like rust kind of colored thing. Dusty. Nakara, welcome
Yo.
back. It's your turn. What did you like? What did you dislike? And what surprised you about this week?
What did I like? Really liked the Hammerhead. She's a beauty. Especially the man turrets. Just that looks like a really fun multiplayer ship. Actually, you know what I've really liked a lot about this week? The 8 ATVs, they're all really good. Lots of really cool detail on ships we haven't seen in a long time. It's great to see the Carrack in production.
I'm going to interject and say a little bit. Where's my freelancer Max? I'm gonna channel my inner gray-headed gamer and be like, where was the update of my Max? Where's my freelancer Max? CIG? We doing
It's
that?
coming.
We doing that thing? Huh?
Where's my MIS?
Yeah. Where's my miss? Where's my boob lancer? The Dur. You know where is that?
Gotta love the boob lancer. Things I didn't like. The rage surrounding the land claims.
The worst part about that is that no one remembered that rage when the holiday live stream happens. Like, in
I'm gonna
less
remember,
like a
just
week
to-
or two.
Just bring it back.
just to
Hey
bring it
guys,
back.
land plots.
Yeah. I mean, people remember it. People will remember it. But it's like
Stoke the fire.
it's just one of those things that people will like. Just someone will bring it up again and be like, "That's old news. That's an old meme, son. Don't bring back dead memes. We've got the spicy new meme of whatever CIG's done recently." You know.
Indeed. Gotta love those spicy new memes. So, what surprised me? Well, am I allowed to go off topic slightly?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, actually, a lot.
Go for it.
A couple of things surprised me. I'm going to stick with Star Citizen for a moment. I may have been slightly out of touch, but I did not see the land claims thing coming. I thought it was pretty interesting. I immediately went straight to the Q&A so I could figure out all the details. But yeah, I didn't see that coming. But on the not Star Citizen front, I was surprised this week to find out that Elon Musk is launching his Roadster to Mars. So, yeah.
The amount of confusion that caused too. I was looking at a bunch of different websites and forums
Yeah.
and stuff, and people were like, "Is he serious? He is serious. No, he isn't
Yep.
serious. Oh, he is serious.
Uh-huh.
What the fuck is
Yeah,
what?
Launching his Roadster to Mars.
Yeah,
Yep. The Falcon Heavy's launching in January, and no one knew what the payload was. And they had their marching orders had always been make it as silly as you possibly can. So he's launching his original Tesla Roadster, the first one. It's the dark cherry color. Inside the Falcon, so the Falcon Heavy is going to launch it into Mars orbit.
There's going to be a Roadster floating in Mars orbit.
Yes, there will.
Interesting.
it's also going to be playing the Space Odyssey. Over and over
Space
again.
Space Oddity.
Oddity.
Is,
Space Oddity,
the David Bowie song. Yeah.
Until the battery dies?
Yeah.
See, this is where people start wondering what he's doing.
They're just going to attach. They're going to attach
Because
solar
he
panels.
can.
Exactly. It'd be amazing if they put solar panels on there so he can recharge
They're
the
going to put
batteries.
Solar City solar panels on the thing, so he can be like, Solar City solar panels are powering the Tesla Roadster that's orbiting Mars. And then put a little model of the Boring Company, like Bohr, in there, so he can brand the fuck out of all of these things. Remember
There
Tesla?
you go.
Remember Solar City? Remember Boring Company? These all exist.
Remember David Bowie?
Yeah.
Totally. But yeah, that surprised me. It came out of left field. I just came home and logged on to Reddit, and people are like, "So Elon Musk just said this on Twitter. Does anybody know if he's serious?" And yeah, it's super cool. Apparently, it's got to have a way to recharge the batteries, because apparently they're going to have cameras on board so that if they get to Mars, they can actually take pictures.
Can they just have a continuous live stream from Mars?
That would be incredible.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I could see that happening.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to cautionary note here. I pay very close attention to SpaceX. They have been warning for like the last 6 months. They're not sure they're going to be able to get this one off without it blowing up.
Yeah. That's why they're doing this, is because they're pretty sure it's going to explode. Like,
Yeah, they're about 80% sure it's going to blow up on its way up.
Yeah.
But you got to test it somehow. So
yeah.
there you go.
If it does it,
Test squadron, best squadron.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the problem with rocketry. You can only do so much on the ground. At a certain point, you're just going to have to launch a fucking rocket, and it'll blow up. If you look at like early test footage of NASA and Russian attempts at launching rockets, like they were death traps. Like they'd explode.
There's a lot of
like,
explosions involved.
like 3 out of 5 rockets would just go up and boom. Or some of them wouldn't even get off the pad. They just explode on the pad. You know, so.
No, it's the problems here are you can't test a 3-core rocket adequately on the ground. You have to fly it, and then if it explodes, you have to figure out what happened, what went wrong. But so he's been hedging very heavily and basically saying he'll just be happy if it gets off the pad. But if it does work, this is the payload, and this is where it's going. And everyone was very happy last night, and it actually made me kind of giddy because it's absolutely ridiculous and fantastic at the same time. And also, absolutely 100% if he gets this thing to go up there and actually gets it to Mars, it has to be in Star Citizen.
It does.
Somewhere.
Yes.
Somewhere in Star Citizen, there needs to be a Tesla, midnight cherry Tesla Roadster in orbit around Mars.
Playing Space Oddity.
Playing Space Oddity.
On loop.
On
And
loop.
then someone will get stranded and get stuck in that roadster and constantly hearing ground control to
Major Tom.
I'll tell you, that's rage quit waiting to happen. Oh, bitch! Shut the fuck up
Listen.
with this stupid song!
If Elite Dangerous can have the Voyager probe rendered in game, I think we can put a fucking Tesla Roadster in game. They just have to ask SpaceX, or
Can I
Tesla.
put one more
Oh,
thing in my
SpaceX would totally do
surprising?
that.
Can I put one thing more into my surprising category?
Sure.
They were able to get. I'm not sure how many people actually pay attention to the Voyager news this week. They were able to get the thrusters to fire on Voyager 1 this week, and it's the first time they've fired in 37 years. And they worked perfectly.
Go,
Yeah.
Beeger.
Like,
I
that's amazing.
Yeah.
It really is. That is absolutely incredible.
It's amazing because if you think about the technology involved in rockets, the Voyager launched, 50 years ago?
40 years ago. 40 years ago.
So Voyager 1 launched 40 years ago with technology that was pretty much, let's throw it against the wall and see if it works. Like I remember only 10 years before that, most of the rockets were blowing up on their way up. So they're still figuring it out. So in 10 years, not only did they improve their rockets so they're safe, they improved them so much that they can work 30 years after they've been launched, after the last time they fired. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, they were so happy because basically the problem was their other thrusters they were using to control the attitude of this probe were failing after 40 years. And so they were like, hey, let's try and use these other thrusters. We haven't fired in 37 years since we passed Saturn. And they worked perfectly. And that's just... They're like, what other thing can you just sit there for 37 years and then have it work perfectly?
Well, you think about it, space is essentially like a big piece of Tupperware. So
Yeah, that's true.
it's just been, preserved for all those years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's still some effects on stuff. Like, you don't know what solar radiations can do some stuff.
Especially
in particles.
radiation, yeah.
It can fuck shut up, so. All right, well, I think with that, this is the fastest we've done a dislike, and surprise, because I've only been streaming for 40 minutes. And 10 of that was me setting everything up, so.
Triton just gave me a sub to your channel, Paul.
Aw, thank you,
That
Triton.
guy's awesome. Thanks, Triton.
Yeah, it's been beat up as well. Yeah, micrometeorites probably hit the thing out of it too. Thank you for that sub there, Triton, for giving that to Xenon. What I was gonna say? Oh, about the sales. Something that's been interesting to me, and that's the reason why I wanted Nakar to come up here, because we can discuss this real quickly before we go into the questions. But if you guys do have questions, ask them. There's the link. Click that link. Go to that actual site, forum, fill out your name and then your question, and then we'll answer that live on stream. Please use that to answer it. Something that's been this year has been very frequently mentioned is that funding is down this year compared to previous years. However, Nakara mentioned this on the relay station and today. This anniversary sale is less than $1 million away from being the highest grossing anniversary sale they've ever had.
Well, much closer now.
Yeah.
They're only, let's see here. I will refresh the page and we'll see. They did it. They are now at 6.7 million, so they are now tied with the best one they've ever done.
And we still have 2 days left, or 3 days left.
And there's still 2.5 days left.
Yeah. So, what have they been averaging overall per year?
33 million. Last year was their best at 36. But I mean, they're getting real. I mean, they're only now going to be, well, right now they're 4.8 million away from that mark. And I mean, they still have the rest of the anniversary sale. They have the holiday sale, and they have the holiday live stream, which is supposed to have Squadron 42.
And I'd also lump in 3.0 launch, which I'm fairly sure they're going to kick out at December 20th, come hell or high water, no matter what state that game's in. They're kicking
To
it.
live?
I feel they will, because they have done it every year for the last 3 years. They've done that.
That's fair.
Yeah, like they did it with 2.6, they did it with 2.0, and they did it with 1.0.
It would be. I hope it's stable. They've worked so hard to get it to a good polish point. It'd be kind of sucky if they put it out and it wasn't there.
But if you also look at the state of 2.63 before this even went to Evocati, I mean, yeah, it's not that great. You still crash in that a lot. You still do a lot of things. So it'd only take a little bit of stability to really make this better than what 2.63 is. So you got to compare it to that.
I mean, a stable 30
I could easily see
FPS.
this going live.
Yeah, a 30 stable FPS would be for everyone would be.
It'd be an improvement.
Yeah. And I think most people would be okay with that, because at the end of the day, someone's like, "Oh, well, it's not 60 FPS." It's like, yeah, it's an alpha. They
It
managed
wasn't 60 FPS last year either. So
Yeah, it's
Big
all,
whoop.
they also doubled the player count. So
that's right. Yep. And added a huge amount of space and moons and all sorts of stuff.
are they going to sell the concept sale for the Drake next week? Are they just going to do it? Have they already drawn up those concepts or something like that? Or no? There's no way they're
I
going to
don't
be doing
think
that.
so. I know they're still selling the Hammerhead and the Vulture all the way to the 11th.
Mhm.
So you'll probably still see some influx of capital even after the initial sale goes off.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I don't know. It would really, something would have to go wrong for them to not make that 4.8 million in December.
Yeah.
Like it seems like a foregone conclusion to me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say right now, I wasn't sure they were going to pull it off. When we got into November and they still needed to make like $16 million,
Yeah.
I was kind of like, I don't know.
Well, it just goes to show you, and hopefully this is also, if CIG holds their plan next year and does quarterly, drops of whatever they have, when they drop content, they get paid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why the money looks so, bleak all the way through summer and fall and stuff. It's because there was nothing dropped at all.
Yeah.
So they didn't make a lot of money. They made a little patches from a couple little ship here or a little this here. And, if you drop content, we'll give you money, CIGs. So just drop content regularly, please.
Yeah. I mean,
That's it.
that's the biggest thing is to think that GIG could take away is that regular content drops are just going to make you more money and give you better press than big content drops once a year or even,
I like content.
well, I like turtles.
I like traffic lights.
They made a lot of money off those discounted starters.
They do. I mean, it's not to be, it's not to be like underestimated. One of the biggest things that I've heard people say is that once they prevent, like once they do things like allow players to buy in-game ships, they're going to lose a lot of money. And I think the argument is moot because they'll make more money off of new player buying into the game because of that than they will on the ships themselves. And maybe a handful of those people will end up buying a better ship because they're like, you know what, hey, I earned this Cutlass in game. I really like it. It's going to wipe this next patch. So why don't I just put down some money for it? Why not? I've already earned it once. Well, I just have it. And that'll be a minority of people, but it'll still be enough to justify it in the long run because,
But yeah, that, like the discounted starters sale, they made like $1.3 million off that.
Mm-hmm.
Day.
What I'd really like for them to do is do a discounted package for Squadron 42 after the holiday live stream, like to actually have discounted Squadron 42 packages because that would sell as well, very well.
Hugely, especially if they can get some wider play with Squadron 42 live stream.
Yeah.
Well, don't they still offer it as an add-on to Squadron 42 for like $15? If
They
you
do.
start?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
just don't market that, and I don't know why. It's like $15 add on this. They should like really do a better job of marketing that, and I think that they get a little bit more money.
And vice versa. If you have
Yeah.
Squadron 42, it's only a $15 add-on for Squadron 42. So,
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. But they also didn't limit the number of starters you could buy this time. Like
Yeah.
last time, it was a pain in the ass. You could buy more, but you had to buy one at a time. Go through the whole payment processor, buy one, go through the whole payment processor. This time, they're like, oh yeah, go ahead and get 5.
And they also aren't limiting the number of stuff they're selling. It's not like a until it's out.
Yep.
It's like we're just selling it until it's done, until we're done selling them. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's go through some of these questions. For those of you guys who are at home, you can ask questions, exclamation point question, exclamation point question mark, exclamation point questions in chat, all of which will bring up a form. Click that form, fill out your name and your question, and we'll read it here live. There are a couple caveats. One, we are not CIG developers. Nakar has been confused as a CIG developer, and we've all been called CIG shills, but none of us are actually working for CIG. So, as a result, we cannot give official answers.
Was that the fine print in the coffin?
Yes. Yeah. That being said, we have no problem answering official CIG questions. We just have no idea what we're doing. Board Gamer gave us a tagline for the captain's table, which is the captain's table. We don't know shit. So the end result is most of us don't know shit, and most of the time we're just spitballing, and it probably isn't true, or it may not be true at all. But feel free to ask those questions. And I'll say Disco Lando and Xylo and Nolan and Ulf love it when you go onto the forums and you tag them in a post saying, I heard at the captain's table the official response is this. You know, they love hearing that, especially Disco. You make sure you poke Disco really hard about that. He loves hearing those sorts of things. I love you, Disco, but I'm going to troll you. Also, if you ask a dumb question, because there are such things as dumb questions, be prepared to get trolled. If you ask a statement, that's not a question. I'm just going to say that's a statement and move on. That's all I'm going to say. No discussion about it. And there are some questions which I pretty much hold the right just to skip, because if it's too stupid to be read out loud live, I'm just not going to answer it. Those caveats, feel free to ask whatever you want. Let's go with the first question here, which is Jack Avalon for Nakara, who asks, how well did CIG do this year in terms of funding for the anniversary sale versus last year so far anyways? And I think you said this was what's like, they're 3 million? No, they're tied. They're tied with Best right now. You're muted right now if you're talking.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Last year was the best one, $6.7 million. They are currently right now just passing $6.7 million in this sale, so they just tied. Looks like they'll probably end up with about 7.5, I'm guessing. So that'll establish a new benchmark. So it's an improvement, and they'll probably be roughly the same funding for the end of the year as last year, unless things go really well, in which case they'll probably blow it out of the water if the Squadron 42 stuff goes well.
Mm. And last year was the biggest year the funding since 2014, right?
It was the biggest year period, yeah.
Biggest year period. And 2014 was an anomaly because it actually was the end of VAT, which is the reason why they had so many sales that year, because it was like a spike in January that usually doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next question from ET828, who asks, question for land claims. Do you think there will be a land tax? So if you don't pay your land tax, you will not get the UEE protection? I think there will be.
I wonder if it'll depend where the land.
Yeah, no, I think it will definitely depend on where the land is. So I think
if you don't pay your tax, you'll lose your land.
Yeah, I think that's what'll happen. Or you'll be fined, for paying your taxes. Eventually you could lose the land.
Well, you want them to lose it because people that go away from the game and go AFK, you want that to be recycled. You don't want dead plots everywhere, which happens in games a lot.
And they actually do have the K states for outposts, so it could definitely, because it's in the game.
You have to maintain
absolutely.
them. I mean, so all you want to be land barons out there when you get your 10 8x8s and stuff, well, enjoy the rest of your gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, and
you're repairing that stuff all the time.
I often revert to EVE as a comparison for this, because EVE has straight up buying systems for currency, and people are like, well, it's bought for with what is it? What's the kind of currency that you use to pay for your subscription? ISK, yeah, you pay ISK for it.
Plex. The in-game money's ISK. You use Plex, which is a pilot license extension, and that's how you can pay for your monthly subscription.
Oh, okay.
But it is valued in the market in there. You could look, like in this case, if Star System were to offer a monthly subscription, you could pay for it with UEE, and you'd buy that token.
UEC, yeah.
Yeah, UEC. Absolutely. So, but you don't necessarily buy systems in there. But you hold control beacons, which are the same, except they're in space territories in EVE, and you do have to fund them. You have to fund the area, but it requires something that I wish CIG would do. It requires you be active in the system to maintain the
Control.
totality of the system and stuff and control. Yes, if you're a large group like Goon Swarm was, and you don't have people occupying the system, you can hold it and pay for it, but it will not grow a bunch of minerals or a bunch of asteroid belts or anything if people aren't actively farming it.
Mhm.
So that prevents people with lots of money owning tons of land and getting value out of it. If you don't have the player count to actually do something with it, it's not that high of a value area. So I like that mechanic, and I hope CIG does the same thing with the land territories. Maybe if you're always there working it and you're repairing stuff, you get better value out of the land than if you're like, hey, I'll just own everything and I'll just walk away from it so nobody else can have it.
Yeah, because there's got to be some ways of getting away with it. But again, UEE territory is not unclaimed territory.
No.
And the non-claimed territory, places like Nyx and Spider, may have the higher value stuff because people just don't go there to mine.
I hope they do.
You know.
Yeah.
So one thing I wanted to point out, though, is something that CIG's been talking about, but hasn't been brought up a lot. Because their systems are so big, they do intend to have a lot of areas, even in a system that is inhabited, that are unexplored, quote unquote. I think the original quote way back in the day was they wanted 70% of even an inhabited system to be unexplored. So I think there will be opportunities even in those systems for at least moderate strikes in terms of minerals. But I do think your richest ones will definitely be in those dangerous frontier systems like Pyro.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you have to consider by that time they're going to have flora and fauna in the game. So certain areas that you go on land, even if it is safe, it's not safe from wild animals and other things like
Sandworms.
that. So, yep. Torn up. Well, especially with them having beacons look like those thumpers from Dune.
Yeah.
I was like, wouldn't that be awesome?
Worm sign.
Yep, there it is.
Maybe
Well,
we
we
can
have
hack the
seen
beacons. That's how we can take over.
We have
people's
seen
land.
sandworms. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's Go To You asks, any comment on ship shape and the shortage of info in the last 3 episodes? What are you talking about, shortage of info? They've been talking about the progression of a ship rather than the...
Yeah, Phoenix and...
Yeah.
Yeah, they've talked about a lot. And Disco gave the caveat. He said, if we didn't talk about a ship maybe you were looking for something, it's because there's no new information about it.
Mm-hmm. They work on things individually. So, like, the Freelancer Miss, I'm sure, Freelancer Miss and the Max and those things, I'm sure they're being looked at, but there's no new info on it because they haven't gone through the concept phase, you know.
A lot of resources have been ported over to Squadron 42 right now too, in addition to get ready for the holiday stream, I'm assuming, because if you look at the monthly report, like every other thing is like Squadron 42, Squadron 42, Squadron 42.
Well,
all the work all studios are doing.
I'm fairly sure that we're looking at it. If they're going to kick off a marketing blitz, it's like a marketing announcement at the holiday live sale, they're a year away from release.
Yeah, absolutely. But they
6
still
months
got work
to
to do to prep for even the
Exactly.
announcements and marketing. I mean, that's a
So
this is huge.
that's going to
Honestly, I would be super psyched if they're targeting holiday 2018. That'd be amazing.
and that'd be a great, or even CitizenCon 2018 is released. That'd be great.
They absolutely need to put a trailer in front of the next Star Wars movie.
What they really need.
Absolutely.
Probably unlikely, but it'd be neat.
No, 100%. Got Mark Hamill in there. You're good to go.
It's not as unlikely as you think, because they have talked about in the past that they were looking to negotiate for having an ad before movies. Elite Dangerous did the same thing before episode 7. They had an ad that ran before some of the movies. They only ran it for the first week of the run because it's so expensive, but it was very effective for what they wanted to do.
It'd be
wouldn't that-
interesting to
wouldn't
see, but I think
Wouldn't that make them
Battlefront
work
2
with
is
Disney
gonna.
to do that?
Most of their concept artists are Disney concept artists from Star Citizen. A lot of them worked on episode 7 and Rogue One. So
Yeah, it just sounds really expensive.
it is expensive.
Yeah.
But
they're $50 million to put this ad in front of our movie. Sorry.
it might be worth it depending on how much exposure it gets. You know, that's the question about marketing is less how expensive it is and how effective can it be. And an ad in front of a movie as anticipated as episode 8, you know, is gonna get more attention than a YouTube video. You know, so it depends also what your marketing is. So, next question comes from Laudizi, who asks, for each of you, what ship is in the ongoing sale is the best bang for your buck? The $35 starter package.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yep.
Can't get better than that.
Yep.
And also add on Squadron 42 for $15. I mean, it's a fantastic deal. It's not going to get any better than that.
Means you get $50 for 2 games, which is like that's like a freaking humble bundle deal, like kind of
Cheaper than a console game. You're not gonna get 2 AAA titles on Xbox or PlayStation 4 for $50.
Yeah, and
Also, it sort of like the way what happened to the Orion, where it just like massively grew in size. I have a sinking suspicion Squadron 42 is going to be a lot bigger than we originally.
Didn't they
heard.
say it was 20 hours of lore alone in Squadron 42?
They have 20 hours of recorded scenes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm hoping that doesn't mean that we have a 20-hour movie. Unfortunately, Chris Roberts games tend to prove that may be the case because.
No, I think most of it'll be missions, and not only that, but because like the interlude between missions isn't just you sitting there watching a movie; it's you running around the ship, talking to people. But I do expect it to be significantly longer than they had originally told us, especially because now we know that you'll also be able to like sort of partially or fully free roam around the Odin system in the game. That's going to give you a lot of gameplay.
It's looking more like Mass Effect and less like Wing Commander in terms of its open worldness, so which is interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, no
Mass Effect.
Good one.
Well, all of them
good
have
one.
this. All of them have the same systems. I would say Andromeda has the most freedom, even though it's the worst. And I think we're probably looking at an Andromeda level of freedom hopefully without Andromeda's level of derpy shittiness. Though Andromeda was a better shooter than 3 was, but that's not saying much. It's like having an average shooter. Not getting into that conversation too much, but
Hey, Paul, you know why I wear sunglasses?
because it's the sun never sets in the British Empire.
British? Do I sound British? What?
I wear my sunglasses at night because the sun never sets in the British
You're
Empire.
killing my joke, Paul. You're killing my joke. My eyes were drawn by Andromeda animator. That's why.
Yeah. Your face hurts. Is what you're trying to say?
That's amazing.
Next question, though. Let's move on. Lou Deasy asks, for each of you, what ship in the... Oh, we already got that one. Sorry. Commander Hellfire asks, how do you feel about the UE land claims, and why haven't you already bought your 10 plots? I actually only have 1 plot, but I have a plan for it. The reason why I bought it was because I'm lazy, and I don't want to grind for a plot that I can eventually put like a ultimate fighting ring pit so that people watch people fight to death. Put a demolition derby track, a racing track so people can bet money on it, and a full concert so I can hear Sergeant Gamble spitfire to people coming in. I'm gonna make like a fairgrounds that I'm just gonna park the pub on and just like have people go at it, and then maybe some storage for like pretzels. So like if you try to break into my if you break into my storage facility, you're just gonna get congratulations. You got bar pretzels and Schlitz. Enjoy that.
It's malt liquor.
There you go.
Next, how about the rest of you guys? Did any of you guys purchase land?
No.
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 I didn't for 2 reasons. 1, I'm broke, and 2, I do actually. It's tempting to earn the Pioneer game. Again,
Yeah.
I didn't buy it because refer to A, but but I am a lot more attracted to the Pioneer than I thought. I like the idea of building.
I didn't purchase land because you can't take the sky from me. So
Oh, there you go.
Uberner corrected me. It's not Schlitz, it's Schmaltz. It's just because they changed a few letters here and there doesn't mean it's not still Schlitz, all right? Because Schlitz gives you the Schlitz. That's all I'm going to say. The Schlitz gives you the Schmaltz.
No, I want to earn a landing game, and I was also going to say I want to see if orgs can own land yet.
Oh, that's true.
So my focus in the game is going to be on exploration. So basically, I want to be selling people the information that they base their land claims on. Right away, I might end up wanting land, but I'm not sure I will. So I'm sort of waiting to see how I decide I want to play. But yeah, I definitely see my business more like, hey, I got a great claim for you. Come to me if you want some info.
Oh,
So you're going to be a realtor.
yeah.
Yeah.
He's gonna be.
I'm
This
going to be a
is-
realtor with a carrot.
This is a big fixer upper. Okay, we're gonna. You see, it's got a bay window facing the
It
sunset.
has
Also-
no minerals.
Is it close to
It's close to a complete sulfur lake. Where great for the kids at summertime, which happens once every 500 years.
Good for the skin.
And there's just some beautiful wildlife out of there. The man-eating xenomorph is seen in the forest out back. Beautiful to take pictures of, you know. Only
yeah,
only once in a couple years do you get raided by pirates too. It's just absolutely perfect for you. You know.
see those Nakara yard signs out in the asteroids. The atmosphere. It's
Nakara
like,
is-
what is this? It's like a
The car
yard
has
sign,
this
like,
moon for sale.
open house this way.
But I honestly, that is one of the things I think is really cool. Is they've been searching for all these ways over the years. I know they have internally. I'm just going to backtrack for a second. When during the Kickstarter thing that surprised them the most, they asked people what they wanted to do in the game. 70%, 69%, I think it was, said explore, and they went, oh, because they thought it would be combat. And so for the last 5 years, they've been going, all right, so how do we put enough content into the game for explorers so that 70% of our player base can still explore meaningfully? This is a huge way. The fact that explorers will be so key to the whole land game part, where you have to know what's on the land, whether the quality of the soil, the minerals, location, whether or not you're going to get hit by a solar flare, all these good things. I think that's going to provide a huge amount of exploration gameplay. The whole surface of planets.
There you go. Yeah, I think exploration itself has to be a little bit more in depth, but they're choosing a lot of good stuff for the exploration. Next question comes from Rylan SC, who asks, with mining being pulled from 3.0, it's strange they haven't delved into the mechanic with it coming so soon after 3.0 launch early next year. What do we know about the mechanic, and shouldn't they show anything on it? Probably because CIG doesn't work like that. CIG has an idea of how mining works, and they've already talked about how mining works. They've talked about it extensively, and that hasn't
Great detail.
and that hasn't changed. Why they haven't showed it is because they'll take 2 months to make it in game, and then they'll drop it broken and buggy, because that's how you make content. That's how you make features in Star Citizen in early alpha. And then when they come back with it, they'll eventually tune it up over time. That's how they made the reputation system. It's how they're making the cargo system. It's just how it works. They're going to have an initial drop, which will not be the same as the final drop, and that's a little different as well.
Hopefully, see it sometime in March, maybe.
Yeah,
You can definitely see what the intention was here, because the prospector's done. And so I think that they were like, okay, we're going to put mining into 3.0, and they're like, you guys do the ship, and we'll do the gameplay mechanic. And the ship got done, and the gameplay mechanic didn't get done. I am a little surprised. I'm a little surprised we haven't seen anything about it, but I think that might just be that they want to get 3.0 out the door before they start showing too much about 3.1. I think once 3.0 is out, you'll see ATVs on mining where they're like, here's mining. But I think you're going to have to wait until they actually get 3.0 to live first.
Yeah,
I think
that's that. I'll go ahead, Mr. Smart. Sorry.
That's all. I think that's fair.
Yeah. I was going to say, I really hope we go into the beginning of next year and we see more mechanics that are coming, because it would be a shame if we see a lot of ATVs with look what you already have, and I know that's what they've been doing, what they've been working on, all the bugs on this, and then working up for the Squadron 42 holiday live stream stuff and all that. But hopefully by middle of January or something, we'll start seeing on this is new mechanic that will be coming out later this year.
And
Things
there's
like that.
Plus,
Go ahead.
plus, there's a lot in 3.0.
There is.
So, I mean, it's not like they're out of material.
No.
yet
No.
to show. And there's a lot that's still broken in 3.0. So we haven't necessarily seen
Try and do a mission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't quantum link.
It's
Yeah.
Templars makes a good point. It's like it's more like a 0.3. That's why it's an alpha 3.0. Like a lot of people do weird kind of numbering systems. CIG, the reason why it says 3.0 is because originally they were numbering it by Arena Commander releases and not actual game releases. In reality, this is more like alpha 2.0 if we were going off of the Persistent Universe, because alpha 2.0 was actually Persistent Universe 1.0, or even one Persistent Universe 0.8.
They're a whole number backwards, basically. Yeah.
They're a whole number backwards, and it's weird how they've numbered it. So just think about it like any other kind of alpha early access game. This is alpha 3.0, but we just shortened it to 3.0 because it's easier.
Yeah, you're gonna end up with Star Citizen Alpha 3.0, 4.0, maybe even 5.0, and then they'll just go, okay, this is now Star Citizen without the Alpha 1.0.
Yeah.
Hey, I got something that I want to add to the
Sure.
whole mine conversation. So, do you think that maybe CIG is prolonging the amount of time that the mining mechanic is taking because they don't want people to go out and start grinding right away to like build up this hype for mining, and then like say, hey, oh, by the way, we're taking all that shit back. It's alpha, don't forget, you know.
I mean, because we're gonna have wipes.
Well, that did kind of bite him in the butt a little bit.
So yeah, I mean, maybe the mining mechanic is like closer to being done than they're letting on, and they're just delaying release so that people don't go out, grind the hell out of it, and then like come back and complain that they lost all their shit.
I still think they're perfecting voxel asteroids. Is what it is.
I mean,
That's what it
Well,
is.
the Vox Asteroids are
honestly,
in, aren't they?
that's the thing, right? They locked down their feature set for 3.0 in like
August.
May.
Yeah, May or August. Yeah.
Like it was a long time ago, and now they're basically like mining may be mostly done. It may be, but they're. Can you imagine how much shit it would involve if they actually?
That was
Oh,
my
is
cat.
that-
That was my
Okay.
cat.
Like a
So-
gunshot.
My cat is better than yours.
Your cat. Yeah, I'd yell at my cats that you should be more like Riker and not crazy.
Oh,
freaking
you'll get chewed up
paranoid.
later if they're more like Rick.
Yeah.
So, just like even if they right now, if they're like, "Hey, mining's done, let's try and put it in 3.0," that's a lot. Like that game mechanic is probably going to break a lot of things when they put it in. It would be. I don't think they can put it in right now because it will probably break the build in very nasty ways. So it may very well be a ways along. It might not be too. We don't really know. Hopefully, we'll find out once 3.0 comes along what their sort of view towards 3.1 looks like.
Well, and plus, what else would they have done for like the next quarterly release, right? If it's if it's like you say, really really close, it'd be nice to have that be the next drop and space out that content and do it that way. Because after that, I highly doubt that they got like the 3.2 or 3.3 mechanics all the way done or anything of that nature. So I think it'd be spaced perfectly. We'll have plenty to do in 3.0 when it goes live for a while.
Like even things that are like right now in the PTU. Like, I enjoy it. I love it. I'm actually having a good time. It's pretty broken. And, like, I try to do missions, and it crashes. And I haven't yet successfully done a mission because it crashes every time I try and do something. But, so I've sort of just settled for going to planets and landing and walking around because that works.
And I mean, that is pretty damn cool still, too.
It's amazing. It's absolutely fantastic.
I mean, last night I
had
had
a lot to do. There's a long way to go.
We had 3 players dogfighting with on dragonflies against a Vanguard, because a Vanguard just randomly showed up at a place we were racing to, and they didn't respond in chat, so we started trying to blow open their hatch to try to get into the ship with like railguns, and so they took off. So we started trying to shoot at us. We got on our dragonflies, and because there's a bug, you can actually fly it into orbit with dragonflies. We started dogfighting in atmosphere with our dragonflies against a Vanguard. It was ridiculous. It was bonkers, and it was awesome, and it was something that you would never be able to do something like that in 2.6.3, and that's the kind of like the gameplay possibilities that can happen. So
That's part of the joys of alpha, getting to try out all the cool bugs before they're taken
Try all
out.
the cool.
Before they're fixed,
That's
yeah.
true. I mean, I did have a dead body melting into a landing pad recently. That was
That's awesome.
I was very entertained by all of the broken airlocks and stuck open doors on Olisar.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the one time I logged in, I had to go to. It was the fourth airlock I tried. The other three were all broken. The fourth one worked, and then I had to like EVA around the station to get to my ship.
Nice.
Yeah.
I do kind of like the cargo box bug.
Where you pick it up, but
Oh.
you actually like you
Yeah.
hold like we're like
Never
one
Yeah,
hand.
it's like
in
a
it.
test your hand.
Yeah.
It is yours forever.
I feel like we need to have like actual melee without the weapons, so that I can
Yes.
just like put my melee position up with the box and just start hitting people with the box as a result.
PUBG has frying pan, Star Citizen has cargo
Boxes, yeah.
I was
UPS
happy
man
to
of
put,
death, you know.
I was happy to put Melee back into Star Marine before they took Star Marine back out.
Yeah.
That's your
Yeah.
Amazon Prime now.
Amazon Prime now. The Amazon Delivery Man. It's like the latest horror film in Star Citizen
We
universe.
deliver your box before you order it.
Lots
Oh.
lumberyard. Great.
But no, I don't think honestly mining is anywhere near ready. But it's not the way that CIG develops it. The CIG develops everything in the background first, and then they drew the mechanic. Like everything was developed for 3.0 around the idea of cargo, and then cargo was the last thing they added in before they started putting it out there for PTU and such like that. And even then, it's still not fully implemented. Missions are still kind of wonky. There's still some stuff that's kind of wonky, and even then, this mechanic is basic. Eventually, you're going to have to pay someone to move cargo in, or you will have to move cargo into your ships themselves instead of like automatically getting put in. So
Well, that's the way they do
Robots.
everything, right? It's concept, then they draw the pretty assets, they make the stuff, and then they give it to a nerd guy to make it work.
Mhm.
That's how they do everything. I mean, that's generally.
I want robots, damn it.
robots, just automated robots.
I am still petrified that they're not going to get AI working all the way before middle of next year.
I don't think they
That's
will. I don't think they will.
But right now we got AI like walking around, and that adds so much to Port Olisar to see
Mhm.
like actual NPCs like
Oh,
doing something.
I
even if
think-
it's-
I think
Yeah,
3.
even if they're mimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even if they're miming everything. But no, I think
it's nice to have them there.
I think 3.2 will have somewhat working NPCs, but it'll be like right now. Like instead of like the guy walking around miming fixing things, he's going to actually go up to something that's working and try to fix it and break it and cause everything to decompress in Port Olisar and everyone dies. That's what's going to happen with NPCs. You
I
know.
want to see NPCs using airlocks and getting into their own ships and taking off and going
Yeah.
places. I want to see, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Like,
want to see an
it go
NPC forget
further.
to put their helmet on before
There
going
you
in.
go.
Yeah, just-
Out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff. So I mean, because until we start to see some of that, it kind of puts some doubts on like what's going to happen Squadron 42 wise.
Hmm.
Because Squadron 42, with them using the exact same AI tech for Squadron 42, they're not just using canned characters and you're interacting with them. They're fully putting subsumption into Squadron 42. And for whatever reason, they made that decision just so they didn't have redundant creation. That's fine, but I mean, there's not going to be a Squadron 42 released until we see AI actual functional, at least on ATV or something.
No, I think
No,
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think the AI that's part of the reason why we'll see it in 3.2 and why it'll be so buggy is because the difference between subsumption in Squadron 42 and subsumption in Star Citizen will be that Star Citizen has to deal with the netcode, and so the server has to be communicating with the NPCs and telling them what to do. And if it fucks up somehow communication-wise between servers and players, we're going to see some weird fucking shit that NPCs are going to be doing. Like I said, like I can't wait to see the
that
admiral.
looks like fun.
The admiral of the UEE mopping the floors instead of the janitor because he got fucked up, you know, because something got switched. So
That'd be funny.
yeah, it'll be fun, and that's the thing. Part of the backing experience of Star Citizen, and for me, has been the bugs. Just like enjoying the bugs for what they are,
I love
because
the bug.
it makes them so much better when they fix it. Because then it's like, wait, it was a bug, and now they fixed it, and now it looks so much better. So you have more of appreciation for it, if that makes sense. I have the same concept with a lot of early access games, though. So
Yeah, I've been thinking back recently to that first release back in 2013, The Hangar, and like, oh boy, that was a long time ago.
Yep. The boy, did I have fun driving my buggy around my deluxe hangar, man.
Yep.
Doing the jumps and going through the hoops and stuff.
Sit in your ship going.
I still remember Grumpy Gilly, your instructor in the training mission. Hey, Rook, get over here. Rook. Shut the fuck up, Gilly.
Hell yeah.
Forgot about that.
Grumpy Gilly.
That doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
It wasn't actually that long ago, but they disabled
This was,
it
what, a
last
year
year.
ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they didn't work. Like after like 2.5.
Well, it wasn't relevant anymore.
Yeah, use your mouse to click this thing. Like, what about my joysticks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No pew-pews.
Blank asked the next question, who asks, how do you think the game will develop will be in 3 point further? 3.1 mining, 3.2 question mark, 3.3 question mark. We actually kind of had a roadmap, not a full one, but we know we need salvage at least.
I can answer that question.
Go ahead.
The game will develop in good time.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think by 4.0 we'll reach a beta state. So whatever whatever the last 3.0 patch will be, the last patch before they go into beta 1.0.
Yeah, I mean, alpha and beta are hard to define these days because people have really muddied the waters. I mean, a beta is supposed to be feature complete.
Correct.
Feature complete, not content complete. That's
Not content complete, but feature complete. But you have to be able to mine, you have to be able to salvage, you have to be able to do your Genesis stuff with the passengers.
Bounty
The Endeavor
tracks. You have to
the
do
en-
those.
The Endeavor has to be in the game and fully functional, and that is a crazy ass ship. It can do anything. So they need to go a long way with gameplay mechanics. I think that's my biggest hope for 2018 is that they can shift focus to getting these game mechanics in the game.
Yep.
And also expanding the universe. But
Because jump points are going to have to be in before you can go to beta. At least some systems to move between one system to another, right? So that's
yeah, I think that might actually be the trigger for beta is when they introduce the second and third systems.
Yep. I agree.
Oh, I love that. That's a really good picture of the car.
Yeah, no, I found it on the subreddit. This guy just posted it. It's just Ella Kobama. There you go. Ella Kobama posted it on the subreddit, and I thought it was pretty awesome.
But I also want to point out to people, a lot of people, we've been talking a lot about the quality drops that Chris Roberts talked about, CitizenCon, how they're going to drop whatever they have, each quarter next year. That does not mean 3.1 will come out in March. That does not mean 3.2 will come out in July. That doesn't mean that. That just means literally what he said. They're just going to drop what content they have.
Well,
So
no,
it is still well more than a year off.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah,
I mean,
they might still call them 3.1
yeah,
and
3.2.
3.2.
3.1 may drop. It may not have mining in it if they do quarterly drops. It'll just be whatever they have ready.
Well, if that's the case, there won't be no beta after 4.0 because that would mean
No.
No.
Well, I mean, you
Well,
can
it
always
depends.
go,
It
you
depends.
can always go to like 3.9.
Yeah, exactly. Because if it's quarterly patches, that's 3.9 would be something like 3 or 4 years down the road. So
Yeah.
could
We're at
easily
least-
do that.
At least 2 to 3 years out of beta, I would think. There's no way.
It's
we're at
going
least
to
2
be
years.
a little while.
I also think beta is going to be kind of a soft launch because
Oh,
they need to add more systems, and I think beta will have a lot of systems, 5 or 6, but it won't be anywhere near the actual complete game, and in terms of systems and content.
Yeah.
So.
I don't think there is a complete game.
Well,
No.
there's never going to be a complete game, but like what they promised at Kickstarter, which was 110 systems, they have to have that in. That's not for launch, and I think they have to. Stick
I
with that.
don't think they will, though. I think they'll just...
I think that's why they'll do. Makes more sense for them to do a beta soft launch because if they release it and they don't have 110 systems,
We say systems,
lawsuit.
we meant moons.
Yeah.
Right? 112 moons.
yeah. So
Well, I don't think they'll get sued. How many people don't quite match what they put in Kickstarter? All of them.
Yeah, the difference is that there's now a basis because they say this is a complete game. So now they say this is a complete game. This is what you promised. You didn't give me what I promised. Give me my money back. So I think it's better for them to do a soft launch in terms with a beta and just say, hey, we're not going to wipe out some points, but we're going to
do the Warframe thing where you're in beta for 5 years.
There's nothing. I mean, Warframe makes a good point when the creators of Warframe said when we'll launch the game when we're stopped making it, and which works for what it's supposed to be.
That's fine with me as long as they continue regular content drops and they release them like they said quarterly next year.
Yeah, that's the key. If they continue to make content drops, then there's no point in complaining because they're still bringing stuff out. And WoW's got a new expansion. I didn't even think that the WoW would have a new expansion after the last one. Even it has a new expansion. That was
not only that, but
2003.
I watched BlizzCon this year. That expansion is huge. It's not like a little thing. It's massive, and at the same time, they're also doing the WoW Classic thing. So, yeah, they're still rocking. They're 13 years in now. Like that's amazing, and that's what Star Citizen is 100% aiming for. The Eve thing, the WoW thing, they're aiming for the super long-term MMO, like 10, 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Eve's already crushed that, and so's WoW, right? They were both like 2003.
2003, 2004-ish. 2004, I think, for WoW.
Scabs, no, it's still 50 players. They just reduced the number of NPCs last time I checked, unless that's changed. So, all right, next question comes from Nescafe, who asks, do you guys think with all the ships purchased in land claim, it will hurt the future player bases who will no longer be able to buy ships with money?
Nope.
No.
In fact, I think it's going to be the exact opposite. Mm-hmm. Where when people start earning these ships in game that other people spent real money on, I'm guessing it's going to be easier than some of these people that spent money on the ships would want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
And
you know how easy it's going to be for some people? Sneak aboard a ship, shoot the guy in the back of the head. Your ship is now mine. They'll just.
But I mean just earning the money to buy it in game.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's not going to be as hard for non-limited edition ship than. Yeah. People who paid cash for those ships would like it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, you're assuming that people are going to be brave enough to venture outside of UE protected space.
Yeah.
Right?
I think there'll be a lot of money to be made inside of the UE protected space.
Inside of it, yeah. I think it'll be less bang for your buck, though. I think, like...
Oh, absolutely.
It'll be one of those things where you can go out into the uncharted territories and make a fucking fortune in, like, a day. Whereas people will take years to grind out the same amount of money in a UE space, but
I would 100% believe that Chris Roberts now entirely intends on executing on the I want to make it so on his thought that he would like to make it so a player could play their entire game experience inside one system.
Oh yeah,
because they're enormous now. Like if you look at the Stanton system, I think there's I actually looked it up a little while ago, but I think there's around 20 worlds that you should be able to like land on and explore between moons and planets and large asteroids. So that's 20 worlds in one system, plus, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 space stations. And then all the outlying areas and the asteroid belts. It's going to be a massive play area, even in one system. And a lot of opportunity to make money. Now, I mean, even you can. There's going to be a large aspect of luck in Star Citizen 2. Like if first time you climb aboard your Mustang Beta and you go exploring and you find like this hidden asteroid belt that's full of titanium and you go sell it to an org for 1 million credits, boom.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, so the first person who's going to find a wormhole or find a jump point is probably going to be a random person. He's probably just going to be a rando. And again, if the community is I'm with Fastcart and Fastcart's movement, so that if anyone finds a jump point, we need to name it, because you get to name it if you find it. We need to name it Lando's Hole.
Absolutely.
There just needs to be a community, a solidarity effort in the community. It's Lando's Hole. You need to name it Lando's Hole. I don't care who it is. You name it Lando's Hole.
They're gonna hate us. They're gonna hate us.
That's my goal. My goal at the end of the day is for CIG to absolutely despise everything I say or do on this channel. That's all. That's all I do.
My number one,
so far. Well done.
my number one wish for that whole mechanic, the jump point exploration mechanic, is I really, really hope when they put in a new system into the game that they don't tell us.
Yeah.
Do not tell us it's
Yes.
there. Don't
Yes.
even mention it in the frickin' patch notes. I don't want to know. I want people to be randomly exploring and stumble across systems we had no idea even existed. Because I think that is much more of a pure, true experience than them just going, "Hey, there's a new system. Go look for it in this area." I think it'd be way better if they just kept it a mysterious thing. There could at any point be a system out there for me to go find.
All right. Foxter asks, do you want to go out for coffee sometime? No, not with you. Ever. None of us do. We all hate you, Foxter. Don't ask stupid questions.
Send me Starbucks gift cards.
Yeah, I'll meet
That
you
is
there.
not the
Just send
same
me gift
answer.
So Foxter, if you want to invite all of us out to coffee, you can do it, but you're paying for the coffee. That's right. You got to pay for all of our coffee. And I know Miss Hartz is a coffee addict, so she's going to get the biggest, strongest one that costs like $60. She just can get like a trash can that's full of coffee that she'll be drinking that the whole time.
Hell yeah.
Trash can latte, please.
Yeah. The fish tank full of...
With an extra shot of espresso.
Yeah. Oh, Mac
That'd
Vol-
be like a waste paper basket full of
No,
espresso
just a shot.
in a trash
Just
can.
a shot.
How big
Yeah,
just
no, that's
one
right.
shot
Yeah.
in a garbage can.
And the rest steamed milk.
Yeah.
Make it a latte. They can get it right out of the cow's udder.
Mac Vault Dweller asks, what do you think should be the loaner ship for the Hammerhead? That's an interesting one. Probably the Constellation for now. Because the Caterpillar doesn't make sense for it to be the loaner ship, neither does the Starfarer. Because the Constellation's actually got fighting ability, whereas the other two don't nearly. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Maybe a Vanguard.
Maybe a Vanguard.
Yeah, I think I might go.
Needs to be some sort of
Prospector.
gunboat.
Mm-hmm.
I would go with the
Now,
Constellation.
I've
It's
got a
pretty
little bit
good,
of-
You're right.
ability.
I guess they do list the Andromeda as a gunship. I'm surprised in that. If you look at the reclaim, it's like gunship. I was like, really?
What was that, Miss Hartz?
Well, and I'm probably biased because I've been really liking Vanguard
It's a good ship.
in 3.0.
M50.
Have we talked about selling land yet? We've talked about them selling land, yes. And I think the conclusion we had was basically it's not that different from anything else that they've done in terms of concept ships, like in any way, shape, or form. But just like the Genesis, it's not going to be for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I think one of the really cool aspects that they talked about a lot, but I haven't seen the community talk about, is speculation.
Land speculation.
I think that's going to be a really interesting sort of side.
The idea
game.
that you can buy land because it could be valuable, and then sell that land for higher value because it could be valuable. You could lose a lot of money off that as well because you could just buy a piece of worthless
You
land.
could, but if you have some sort of understanding of like the conditions in the system, you can go, well, I found out that there's like aluminum here, and there's a huge org battle coming up right over there, and they're about to destroy 18,000 ships. All of a sudden mining rates go through the roof, and you can pick up all that land in the beforehand and then sell it for a huge markup. I don't know. I think speculation is going to be really interesting. And I think that it's sort of another one of those gameplay mechanics that literally just falls out of the system you already have.
So someone says, "Wait, what do you mean? What's wrong with the Genesis Starliner? Don't give me buyer's regret so soon."
I love the Starliner. It's just very neat.
Not everyone's going to want to do that. Not everyone's going to want to be a landowner. I don't think even many miners may want to be landowners in this sense, just because it's it's not worth the money in the long run. If you're gonna, nothing is worth the money, honestly, but other than the game package. But
well, I think a lot of people want to be landowners. They just don't want to throw the $100 at it. But in game, a lot of people will own land.
So XOR Daniel asks, missed the start of the stream, so might have talked about it already. But if you haven't, what do you guys think about the Anvil Hawk? We haven't talked about it this stream. We talked about it last time. What are your guys' thoughts on the Anvil Hawk?
I think it's pretty cool. If you want to play solo, great solo ship.
It's another fighter.
Yeah. So it's like the light fighter from Anvil. So it's kind of like the Buccaneer.
Well,
except
it's got all ones. What size one?
Four
ones
size
and
ones
twos on
and
it.
two size twos. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
It's meant to disable ships, go bounty hunting. It's got an EMP on it. It's meant to capture people and you can hold them in the hold, one person. And so it's basically the Slave One.
Avengers.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like it's a Slave One, and it's not as good, not quite as good as the Warlock, as the Stalker. Though it has it's basically the Warlock and the Stalker had a weird child with a Hornet.
And lost all of its cargo space.
Yes.
The fact it has an EMP and the ability to disable ships, it'd be great if you're going after one single bounty solo and you want to do that, like a Boba Fett maneuver, right?
Solo. Yeah.
That was Greedo, not Boba Fett.
Well, same idea. They all go solo, right? They never get.
Greedo's a bounty hunter.
Like, why didn't they never try to team up? I mean, it's freaking Han Solo, and he's got a Wookiee with him. Were you gonna go solo against everybody?
Solo against solo.
Exactly. So it's like it's the single player ship, but then I look at the Avengers. If maybe you're a badass and you want to capture a couple people, right? Because you got a couple cells. And then if you've got a party, like an actual hunting party, like they did when they went after Riddick, right?
Yeah.
Then you'd want the Cutlass Blue. So
Yeah.
there's your tiers of bounty ships.
Yeah, so I think it's a good ship. My only complaint about it was it feels a little overpriced for what it's supposed to be, which is an introduction bounty hunting ship.
Matauchi, you missed out on what you're also supposed to do with the blue Cutlass.
What's that?
You're supposed to cheer it up, man. It's
Aw.
Oh, boy.
Antidepressant.
Everyone calling it fat.
So,
Need the rework on it though. Let's see what they do.
I wanted to mention this. One of the things I personally really liked about the Hawk was on the art side. They made its stance when it's landed and folded up very, very, very reminiscent of a hawk that's landed like on the ground.
The ship reminds me a lot of a Xi'an ship almost. It almost looks like the Scout when how it unfolds and kind of flares when it's flying. So.
Just a beautiful art design again by. They have really good artists there.
yeah, the Hawk's a neat looking ship, but I don't think that it's
Going on those.
That's part of why we haven't seen.
Because I mean, like going on the combat mission 3.0. I did this last night. I have a warlock, and I went out, swapped out all the like disruption guns with like actual like laser repeaters and such, and then would fly in, hit the EMP, disable the AI for a couple seconds, and by the time it takes for them to reload to like get back their systems back up, my EMP is charged again. I just set it off again. I just constantly set off the EMP and then just pick them apart while they
Troll
can't move.
people.
Yeah, and you can do that in atmosphere. If you EMP someone, they fall to the ground. They just break. So it's a trolling weapon for sure. And it's always been a trolling weapon, but in 3.0 it becomes ridiculously effective.
So when EMP first came out for the
Avenger.
yes. Me and Bayor actually used to play together. He'd go in with the EMP and use that. I would be just out of range, come in and shoot and kind of just fly over the people that were disabled so that as soon as he could launch EMP again, I would be on my way back to shoot him again.
Mm-hmm.
That was really fun to do.
Yeah, that's what we were doing
With,
last night.
using it together, yeah.
Diablos and I, he had a Gladius and I had a Warlock. So I would like we encounter something like a Cutlass or a what are they, like a Connie, and I would come in, I would EMP it, and then as I EMP'd it, he would lock on and fire
Exactly.
a torpedo, so that because it usually takes 2 or 3 torpedoes to take down a Connie. So but with the shields down and disabled, 1 torpedo will finish it off. So it's like a double, wombo combo. Double, you hit it, boom, it's down, missile comes in, blows it up. So it becomes super easy.
I'm just afraid they're going to go a little too crazy with this EMP shit. If not already.
I like the EMP.
Well, it's great when you're the one using it. But I've already seen people troll right outside of the armistice zone of Port Olisar, just EMPing everybody trying to get out.
Mhm.
It's killing everyone.
Yeah. Because the problem is that there's no
counter
consequences.
to it.
There's also
But that's one of
Yeah.
my favorite Matauchi clips is the EMPs around Korea.
Yeah.
It's
where
pretty.
we launched them all. We were doing more EMP dancing, where we were doing beautiful silhouettes of EMPs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun. But yeah, I think it's a great tool. But they did mention something really interesting during the Drake concept stuff they were doing during the Friday live stream. They mentioned about EMP strength. And I don't think he was supposed to say something about that. But he said something like, oh, that's an interesting idea. And then they just moved on. But I think they're going to employ that. That would make it more balanced to where maybe only small EMPs could only impact fighters. I mean, what you don't want to have is an EMP that could disable an Idris on like an $80 ship.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
I want an EMP that'll disable those damn torpedoes from retaliators, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
It's probably forever.
I want an EMP that only focuses on Rattlers.
But
fuck
would be
that. Well, that would actually that would be a really cool idea. Sorry, if you EMP, you actually disable missiles as they're coming at you. So it's as an
Absolutely.
anti-missile system rather than.
I hope they have tons of different E-War like that. I think that like the radar turrets on top of some of the Connies and stuff, like on the what is it? The Aquila. Like, wouldn't it be cool if you could mount a jammer module on that? Like, where you
Yes.
could, if you see missiles coming for that way, you could literally have a chance to jam them, and then it's like they aren't locked on you anymore. As long as you're like have that type of gameplay where it's still player skill to do it. It's not a button you just push. But I think that would be more interesting too. And the EMP strength stuff. I want a whole selection E-War. I want to be able to jam your radar. If I lock
So
onto
you
you
can't
and
get locked to begin with. Yep.
exactly. But it has to be player induced, not a button you just push. Like I have to lock you and jam you.
Yeah, you keep aiming at that dish or whatever you got to be doing. Yeah. Oh, so
Well,
apparently,
and on larger ships, that'll give more of a role to the engineering position than more multi-crew opportunities too.
Right.
more than just changing shields. Those shields,
Yeah.
this patch are supposed to be a little bit more dynamic. I don't think it's fully implemented yet.
Shields recharge too fast.
Yeah, I think
As in instantly.
I think what's gonna happen is they're going to go over that stuff in the near future, like in this patch, in the PG patch. But they're trying to get the stability down. Once they get the stability down, then they can work on the other game mechanics. Is the biggest issue.
And you can have like a capital one that actually would hurt caps, like it'd have to be a big ass ship though with a huge EMP, and that's what it did, so you just have different tiers and sizes of EMPs.
Hells yeah.
Okay,
We're
so
like creating a new game just for Star Citizen here at the cabin.
There you go.
Arctic Games is bringing up points that the Hawk actually has 2 size 2 or 4 size 2 and 1 size 1. It's just that they come standard with 4 size 1, 4 gimbaled and 2 fixed. So, Rattler EMP. Oh God, no! Fuck the Rattler EMPs. That would be a terrible idea.
no!
No, that would be disgusting and overpowered. Please no. Braven Tooth is saying you feel lied to because
I'm getting him back. I'm getting him back.
they just sit here. We want cat. Fuck you people. We want the cat.
It's all about the cat.
I got a dog. I can get my dog.
Oh God. Square Peg asks, "What's your moral standpoint on pineapple pizza?" I feel like people have. I feel like people have the right to order pineapple pizza, but I feel like if you do, you should be shamed.
I love pineapple pizza.
I pineapple Pineapple on pizza's cool with me.
I've been.
I'm Canadian. We're
was
the
gonna
best, and we like pineapple.
I've been forced to
Plus,
accept
pineapple
pineapple
pizza is good
pizza
with
in my
cheese and
life
bacon.
because my daughter likes pineapple pizza, so I have to accept it.
You have to
because
accept it.
I don't like it myself, but because she does, I accept her, and I accept that she likes pineapple.
I like Z-Man doing his Van Damage everywhere.
No, I'm doing shame right now.
Oh, is that shame? The shame?
Yeah, I'm shaming the people who like pineapple pizza.
Oh.
Sweet and salty.
Next question is Captain Dux, who asks Tumbrel tank when. We had an interesting talk when Dux was on. He asked about the tank, and I think my stance still stays, which is a tank sounds cool, but there's no freaking purpose for it. Like, it doesn't.
Right now.
Yeah, I think in the future it might be a good idea, but we need to have something that can protect ground-based vehicles and players from the ridiculously overpoweredness of ships. Ships can just wreck anyone on the ground. Though they do have a hard time hitting you because of the nature of, like, you can stop in midair, but it's much more difficult to, like, control your ships depending on the type of ship in atmosphere. Even in
And also, once they nail down atmospheric flight, because they're still working on it right now, the game might change significantly.
Rub My Barney actually asks a really good question here. Will creatures be allowed to destroy your base? I imagine
Ooh,
so.
I hope so.
Very likely.
Yeah, I imagine so. Otherwise, why would you want to have automated turrets or defenses? You know, I think
Kill people.
I think we're going to have a situation.
I love
People
battling
creatures.
I have a feeling we're going to have something like Conan, where you can hire NPCs, which will be like just sit there and defend your area. I mean, they'll have to have a place to sleep in order to defend your area, but they'll actually have to have resources. But I feel like that's probably what most people will do when they log off. Is just have an NPC defense force.
I actually think that given the number of former Blizzard developers have had go through there, you'll probably get a tower defense game.
Tower defense game.
I would love that.
Actually, yeah.
I like tower defense games.
EMP space worms. That would be that would make interesting
That would be
combat.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Next question comes from Jiru, who asks, "What are the main concerns with the development? What are I guess the main concerns? I guess maybe your main concerns with development of Star Citizen." Let's start with Ms. Hartz and go back around. Do you have any? What are your main concerns dealing with Star Citizen's development?
Oh, this is a hard question. Although I have an answer.
I have a lot of experience with marketing departments, not necessarily knowing what the rest of the company is doing in a variety of industries. And I'm afraid that sometimes happens with Stars as well.
Nakar?
My main concern is that it's going to take a long time. That's basically it. I honestly don't have much concern about whether or not it's going to be good. At the end of the day, my concern is that to get to where they want to get to will take a lot longer than anybody really wants. But I still think it's a worthy endeavor.
Mitachi?
Basically, what he said plus AI, I'm still concerned about because I haven't seen it, and they like to tout everything even when it's not ready.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen it. Mostly, we'll go with that. There's a couple gameplay mechanics, but that's a longer conversation.
Z-Man?
Same. You guys covered it.
I have similar marketing department issues. Not being out of step with the actual game development or being out of step with the developers. I have the same concept with time. It's going to take a long time, and I think that's the biggest concern in terms of success is will they just take too much time, or will they DayZ it and just be too out of sync by the time the game actually releases? And the last one I have is actually combat related, because I feel like the emphasis on non-combat roles is important, but they should never move away from the idea of making a combat game fun and taking the input of players who play the game a lot. Because there's a lot of players who are very in-depth into combat who are feeling like they aren't getting heard about their combat concerns. To a degree, it's understandable because there's so many other things you got to fix that you can't deal with it. But combat is still going to be the bread and butter of the game. You're always going to have to experience it in some way, shape, or form whether you like it or not. In just because of how the game's designed in terms of making that part of the action. So it needs to be fun. It needs to be interesting.
I don't want to dismiss that concern at all, but I would like to just say that if we're assuming that Squadron 42 is going to be a good game, that's going to be a huge focus of Star Citizen's testing in the months leading up to Squadron's release. They are going to test the crap out of combat.
However, combat versus AI is very different from PvP. They need to think about how Destiny has had troubles.
They're never going to get combat versus PvP right. Some games have been trying to balance it for 15 years and haven't pulled it off.
Yeah, but depending on how they balance it is the key. Like, that's the thing. Like, I think what Bungie did with Destiny 2 was a good step from them, and I think CIG can learn a little bit from that, which is balance it towards PvE. Most elements towards PvE, but don't restrict PvP as a result. Like, you want to, like, for instance, the grenades in Bungie, when Destiny 2 did, they balanced it towards a PvE experience, or a PvP experience, rather than a PvE experience, whereas the first one was balanced towards PvE for grenades. So you just grenade spam everywhere, whereas and now in Destiny 2, it's much less of a grenade spam game. You only have one every minute or so to be able to spam those grenades, which makes it a lot more focus on combat rather than grenades. There's things you can do like that, but I think that would be my biggest concern mechanically, is that the focus on non-combat drives all of the combat out of the game, which I don't like. I don't want a No Man's Sky in space. I want something that has danger and excitement, but also wonder and amazement. You have to balance those two. Yeah,
I completely agree, but I think. I mean, they have been focusing on combat almost exclusively for 5 years. I think they probably have a fairly decent grasp on where they want to go with it.
But
I don't really feel like they've focused on combat. They focused on making fighters, which is totally different. That's one aspect. They didn't have none of the support systems, orgs, permission systems, contracts, all the emergent gameplay tools that we'd use to have conflicts and ally with each other and do all that stuff. There's not been a lot of talk about.
Yeah, there's been a focus.
Talk about it.
There's been focus on mechanics, not on how the game works. Like, and even those last 5 years, they've, like, 2.6.3 was supposed to be this big love child for Arena Commander. They fucked it. They fucked it hard. Same with Star Marine. Star Marine is nice, but it's still nowhere near. Like, even 3.0, it feels like you're walking through molasses when you're trying to fight the damn game. And those kind of things.
Unless you're hacking. If you're hacking, you can jump 10 feet in the air and 3.0 Star Marine, by the way. just so you know.
But that's so. There is important things to get. In fact, I am very happy with 3.0 is going, and I'm very happy with where CIG is going. But there are some things that they need to take a look at. The only issue I have with combat is that I think a lot of the issues with combat have to deal with the fact that the game itself is buggy as shit, and there are some things which are broken, and they just have to fix that before they can go into the combat issues.
Yeah.
Well, most of the combat, Paul. Go ahead, Nicar. Sorry.
No, that's just that was kind of my point with the Squadron 42 comparison is Squadron 42 is going to be a complete game when it comes out, right? It needs to be final product. I think most of the combat that they're going to be able to test in the lead up to Squadron is going to be multiplayer combat, because they'll ask players, "Can you please go test combat?" And most players will go shoot each other.
Yeah.
And they'll report back. But yeah, I think that's that's going to be the huge push up to Squadron, is going to be like, we need to squash the crap out of the combat bugs, because we're about to release a combat game, you know?
I just feel like they've spent years, as far as combat goes, focused on dogfighting.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of questions still, like boarding and EVA and all that stuff.
Multi-crew combat, all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
There's a lot of work to do.
They're just now touching on turrets, which turrets are 100% improved already. Still need a lot more work.
And
you know?
and I also think that Braven also brings up a good point, is that there are also a lot of small improvements which have been suggested by the community, which CIG's ignored over current combat. They said, like, small things that would fix current combat issues that have been totally ignored by CIG.
Well, there may be good reasons for that, though. Like, that's one of the, we don't get to see under the curtain that much. Like, they might be going, well, yeah, that's a great suggestion, but if we put it in, it would break 76 different things.
Yeah, that's true.
Or they have something planned and future patch that will totally mitigate all that. That's something we run into a lot with CIG. So
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great if it's
Go ahead, Miss Hearts.
No, sorry.
Another
Sorry.
thing about feedback, though, especially when it comes to combat, is, now that we've got 3.0, a lot of people are still giving feedback, but it's all over the board. It's on forums, it's in chats, it's in podcasts, and we're missing a whole lot of the document that we have had in past patches, actual videos saying, this is what it is now, this is what we'd like to see, documents saying that. And I think having that sort of thing will also help convey what we want when it comes to combat to CIG.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no. And it's not to say that CIG doesn't take input. It feels like they're very selective in their input, and I feel like combat has been very overlooked. I think that will change again. I think a lot of that, again, has to do with bugs, and as you guys said, there may be some other features that they haven't brought online. But
And I think they said at some point that they're going to do a combat
pass
run through.
Yeah,
pass.
I just hope that they do better than they did with 2.6, because 2.6 was a disaster for the combat pass.
I just don't know what that even means, though.
Yeah.
I know they're going to do a combat pass on what they're going to do. Because to me, every time they say that, what it means is they're going to do flight mechanic combat stuff, not how everything works together.
Yeah.
I just want to see, not even related just to combat, I want to see more gameplay flow-throughs, just like what Disco did the other day with the Citizen Stars, showing how cargo worked. Buy it. Drive here. Go do this thing. Sell it. I want to see complete cycles of doing a complete thing.
Game loops.
Combat. Yeah, game loops. For combat, for non-combat, I want to see these so people can envision what they will be fully doing in the verse. I think that's more important to see that, because it's a workflow. It's not like, hey, this gun shoots better now, or hey, this ship's stronger now. Let's see the dynamic of what that means.
I think all that stuff is like in the future, anyways. It
is, but it
the
needs to be
hardest
talked
part
about now.
The hardest part about development, I believe, is the whole physics of everything, and that's why flight mechanics are so important in a space game, because like all your physics are related to flight mechanics. I mean, even they step outside of a spaceship and they call EVA going for a flight. So combat will come.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but I mean, there was a very, I can't remember where it was. I think it was in the newsletter or something. Maybe it was in the production report, I think. But they actually dropped a mention of a new physics engine, and I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah.
That would be rough. Yeah.
That will change a lot of things too.
Yeah. It may be developed alongside stuff, though. I mean, it could be something a situation like Lumberyard, like where it's a new physics engine, but it's not like a new physics engine. But it could also be something like Adamport 2.0, where it's a new physics engine. Fuck everything. We got to go back from the ground, kind of thing. So,
Yay.
So this next question, I have to put on my Berserker glasses and hat for this one, because it's that kind of a question.
Oh boy.
From EA, what do you think will be in Star Citizen loot boxes, bro? Only the most dankest. Like, you can get a Super Hornet, you can get like a fucking King ship, and it'll be crewed by nothing but NPCs. You get it instantly, and then you have to pay that $500 like $500 to get like nothing but loot boxes to get that, bro. And then you get a little card that just says "I win," and you walk around with it, and everything just explodes around you. It's just perfect. It just prints money, man. Just prints money. Got to print that money, bro. Got to print that money.
The return of Paul Shilley, I see.
Paul Shilley, yeah.
Paul Shilley. Well, it depends. If you're talking about a daily login loot crate, it's going to be garbage.
Yeah.
Just all the garbage.
What was the Destiny community calls it? 2 tokens in a blue. That whole argument that came out a couple of weeks ago, where like a developer was like, "Oh, this next patch is going to be amazing. It'd be so good. You're going to get all this cool loot." And then he opened up the loot box at the end of the new level, and he got 2 tokens and like a blue, or kind of item, and everyone fucking lost it and put it over. It's like, yeah, real good loot box there, motherfucker. 2 tokens and a blue. Fuck off, after like X number of hours of work.
Nice. So I just wanted to mention, because I did actually find the reference. It is in the production report from this week, or the schedule report, and this is what it said. It's under performance and stability. says another change to properly manage thread priorities on both server and client has been implemented and is currently in QA. Among other things, it'll boost the priorities of the physics and network threads to reduce the contention as well as time wasted in spin locks in physics, which I think is, I'm guessing it's when your ship spins out of control. But anyway, it says these will eventually go away altogether as we move to our new physics system. So I'm guessing that they're putting in a new physics system here. But it's not a huge surprise for me because they obviously do have some physics problems. But it's definitely, I think there's going to be a lot of bugs if they're trying to introduce a new physics system.
All right, next question comes from Jiru, who asks, would you drive a Roadster on Mars? Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
With a suit on. I wouldn't do it without a suit on.
I especially would drive Elon Musk's Roadster.
On Mars.
Loops the same song over and over again.
That's right. I would not give a shit if it was the same song over and over again.
Fun fact: I actually drove a friend wanted to get a ride to an airport, and me and my other friend were going to go to Nashville because we were living kind of like about 45 minutes at school. It was like 45 minutes away from Nashville. We need to go to the Nashville airport, so we need to go there anyways. But he was like, I don't have any money for gas, so I can't help you. And I'm like, okay, cool. But then we're going to play Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up for the entire drive. And we did. We played Rick Astley's on loop, Never Gonna Give You Up for the entire 45-minute drive, and blasted the entire time as punishment for not paying for gas. So.
Oh man. So
I heard Jar Jar's going to be in the movie, by the way.
What's up?
I said I don't know if you guys see that, but Jar Jar Binks can be in the
yeah. I posted that on my Twitter.
Oh,
you should go check that link out. Click that. Make sure you click the link. You got to click the link. Just like paulshelmet.com, which is I support it. Paul's Helmet, www.paulshelmet.com. It's the only place you can get quality helmets that I support and completely endorse. Please go www.paulshelmet.com. Do it right now.
Absolutely, do it
right now.
Why are you not clicking the link? Why is that link not being spammed in chat? There it is. Thank you. The video 101.
So I just wanted to mention, I actually ran the exact numbers, and it was about 2 minutes ago that the 2017 sale just surpassed 2016.
Nice. There we go. So
that's 6.74 million right now.
For the glory.
They're still making in the order of about $30,000 an hour. An hour.
And that's and that's 3 days 3 days before the sale's even over with. So.
And then the concept sales for the Hawk and the Hammerhead continue until the 11th. So, yeah, there's a lot of gas left in the tank here, and then they're going probably directly into the holiday sale.
Have they done better than last year overall so far? Then?
Yes, they have.
Well, I mean, they haven't hit their $36 million, but they've also
done better
at the end of the year.
They've done better for the anniversary since last year.
But they had a lot of ground to make up with the beginning of the year. So
they did. It looks like they'll probably be about the same. They need to make another $4.7 million from this exact moment,
which is
I think it is.
So about $5 million. That's possible with what they've got lined up too.
It's totally possible, especially if the squadron reveal is what they are talking about. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So Darspock asks a good question directly related to this. Do you think CIG is getting a little capital ship happy? From Polaris to Hammerhead to the possible Drake capital carrier and the expanded hulls, banning Merchantman and Orion, have they become too focused on big and not starter ships like the Drake Vulture proposed? Personally, I think yes, because those make more money for them.
You think they're too focused on it? So
I think they're focused too much on the tire. Yeah.
So the Corvette starts selling like crazy, so Chevy should just stop selling them.
Well,
I don't think CIG is too focused on them. I think we are, but I'm okay with that because I like big ships and I will not lie. I'm just saying though, I think we are because they put it to a vote, right? I mean, and right now the Vulture is winning.
I think
But initially, all of the community voted for,
Well,
the capital. We didn't even know what it was, and people were voting for it. Like, oh, capital.
capital
They
ship.
didn't even tell us
that's
what it
because
was.
I think that's because people want to buy the Idris and the Javelin and the
course.
Polaris and the gunships because they want to have the ships because they're under the stupid assumption that bigger means better. And
It does not mean better in this game.
no, it doesn't. Having a Polaris doesn't mean
Warning.
you win. A Polaris can still lose to smaller ships.
Absolutely
Well, more to the
will.
point-
If it didn't have support fleet.
Exactly.
More to the point, they're going to cost an arm and a freaking leg to
operate.
operate.
Yeah, you'll have
Like-
to be doing missions that actually justify their use.
You need to figure out a way to actually pay for your ship in
Yeah.
the game because it'll have operating costs.
But for some people like me, as a I used to FC and EVE Online, I like big groups of people. All I want to do is multi-crew. I have no desire to dogfight. Zero.
And
I
that's
will if I have to. But
and-
that's my gameplay. But the problem is I've talked to so many people that own caps that are just solo players.
yeah.
And I'm like,
They
I
should
don't
not
think
own
they
them.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's up to them. That's their choice.
No, it totally is up to them. But I mean,
But
it's,
yeah, I agree. I just don't think if you don't like people and you don't want to play with other people and you want to play by yourself, I don't understand why you own a cap.
How many
You
guys-
want to win.
How many of you guys have bought a ship just because you wanted to see what it looks like?
Oh,
Am I the only one who's done that?
No, I've
No,
done that. I've done it for a couple times. I've done that for
So-
150.
especially
but-
since you can melt them in Star Citizen, sure. I buy them all.
So, I wonder how much of that is actually going on. Like, will they be disappointed once they try and use it in the finished game?
Yes.
So,
If
You know,
there's
well, there will
something-
totally be people who are super pissed off that they don't like their Idris that they paid $1,000 for.
Absolutely.
I think there will be.
BOOHOO. I have no sympathy.
I don't either.
If you're willing to throw that money, you might as well just throw the money out the window then, because you have no idea what you're buying. Do some research.
Well, I've also noticed a lot of people, especially as a leader of even a small organization like mine, people come and they've thrown money at these capitals and they think they inherently get a position in your org of an officer or something, right? They're
Yeah.
going to buy them a position or do something in the game too. So you get people that want to play solo with caps. You get people like, oh, I have an Idris and all this, so I want to be able to use your people for crew. And I'm like, it doesn't work that way.
Nope.
At least not for me. Maybe in some orgs it would.
And
But
I was going to say, Matachi, one of the things you said, actually, I think is a good point. I personally think we're missing a lot of starter ships. I think we're missing the small, early game ships that are very focused on specific kind of roles. But we're also missing the mid-tier. We're missing the freelancers, the cutlasses, the constellations, the vanguards, the redeemers, the tallies. We're missing those we have 6 or 7 of those. But how many freaking fighters do we have? How many freaking capital ships are we getting on? We don't have enough small to medium to large multi-crew ships, which require other players.
There's honestly, with the tiers of capital, I think we lump them too much together too, because the Polaris is distinctly a different size than a Javelin.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but a Polaris requires more than one person to operate.
Absolutely,
You
but
can
it
operate
only-
a Connie with one person. You can operate
But
Connie
like
with
a
one person.
hammerhead requires a minimum crew of 3, but a max crew of 9. So we have to understand the scale of these ships have gotten bigger anyway,
Yeah.
even though it doesn't require that many people operate. I think we need more middle tiers of ships like the hammerhead, in between the Connie and the hammerhead size.
Yeah.
Those size ships too. I don't think we need the thing we need something bigger than a Jab. I think the Jab is fine where it's at. But I would like to see a diversification. We haven't even seen the support carrier, right? It hasn't even been released yet. We have everybody talks about carriers and stuff. We have a Bangle, but you can't own it. So we got to see the support carrier.
Well,
there needs to be more support ships all the way down the line too.
Yeah,
Like
but
the Pegasus, we saw it once, and it still exists. We just had it.
It's not ready
Really?
yet to even talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah.
but
We have
also,
one picture of it.
I was going to say the other thing I would lump into those things are things like the Starfarer and the Caterpillar. Those are big capital-sized ships. Larger than I would say they're bigger because they require
I
a
don't
lot more
consider
people.
them. I don't consider them caps anymore because everything's grown so much. I do not consider the Starfarer.
Even the
The
big
Starfarer is
merchant
not that
bigger,
big.
it's big.
It's still
But-
huge. Yeah.
It's not.
You look at but I was just gonna say that I was just gonna say that we were like, for most of the professions, we either have a small ship or a large ship, and we have nothing in between. There has to be that progression in the range.
Yeah.
Every profession, you have to be able to go, oh, I got my Aurora, and now, your Aurora is great, but it's all purpose, so I want to move to a, a prospector because I want to mine. But there needs to be something between the prospector and the frickin' Orion, which just
I agree.
got to be absolutely ridiculously enormous.
But it only requires 8 people to operate. That's the other thing we have to consider, is because the crew size is weird.
Crew size is super important. Like physical size is not as big a deal.
No.
It's how many people it takes, or NPCs.
And that's the weird thing, right? Because a Connie or something could support 5,
But
right?
it only requires 2.
And it only requires 2, but a Hammerhead, much larger than a Connie, only requires 3, but can only support 9.
In fact,
And I'm
Connie
like,
can
so
do solo, which is weird.
But where's the middle ground in that, as far as crew size goes? Ships are dynamically going all crazy sizes, but it's like, but it takes 4 guys to operate. I understand them reducing the expectation of how big the max crew is because of oxygen and also because of player count issues, right? They don't want to make these things hold 200 people because they don't know if they'll be able to get 200 people in by the time that ship becomes relevant. But they're making these ships bigger than the Orion's double the size now. It's it is a cap, but it only takes
100%.
It only takes 8 people. I'm like, that's crazy because the other ship takes 40 to whatever. It's the same size. Just I don't know. I agree. I agree with Nakar on the middle ground stuff, but I think the crew size thing is also a big issue because there is no middle ground or crew.
I don't think I really have a problem with the Orion only taking 8 people because most of the reason it's big is storage and equipment. A lot of the things it does on its own.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Whereas something like a Retaliator,
like eating asteroids and grinding them up and firing them into its refinery at the back,
which is badass, by the way. But yes.
Yeah. For instance, even something like the Retaliator, we'll take a look at. It's a soloable ship, but it's not an effective soloable ship. Same like a Constellation. A Constellation is a soloable ship, but it's not an effective soloable ship. Neither is something like a Redeemer. So those ships, that's 3 ships right there. There's only 3 ships which are multi-crew optional, but single person available, which is the Cutlass, the Vanguard, and the Freelancer. Those are the only 3 of those ships. We need to have more of those ships because those ships are the ones that most players are going to probably get involved in because they're hey, I can play this on my own, but my friend wants to jump in the turret, jump on the engineering platform, those kind of things. That and maybe the Connies, but Connies require other people to play, which not everyone's going to necessarily have. And I think that's where we're lacking. That and the starter specific profession ships, which is why I want the Vulture, but that's just me.
But I also think that we have a tendency to, as players, I mean, obviously CIG wants to give us certain things, but as players, we heavily influence them to get what's sexy, right? We're like, oh, that's awesome, we'll get that, It's like the solo motorbike thing, the Dragonfly, that's cool, or the massive ship. The reason we don't see a lot of the middle of the road and middle ships is because we don't want the taco trucks. I do. That'd be cool. But, those interesting, weird in between ships, they don't sell because they're not sexy.
The 600i. No one wants to get a 600i. Get an 890 jump. Why'd you get a 600i?
Yeah.
But going on, the next question comes from Free Vega, who asks, the UAE has allowed the Vanduul to attack the Vega system, and no one's talking about this. What are your thoughts, and why are they trying to cover it up? I have my own thoughts about that, but I can't because NDA.
Vandal are just
UAE is anti-vegan.
The Vanduuls are just what?
misunderstood.
They're just misunderstood.
Vandal lives matter.
Yeah.
Release the Kraken.
You may there was an interesting video released by I think someone on Twitter called Free Vega. If you guys want to take a look at that, it looks like a cool project that's going up, which is pretty nice. Let's take a
Chevy
check
Vega?
The Chevy Vega, yeah, Chevy Nova, Nova Vega, Vega Nova, whatever, Next question comes from Foxter, who asks, how are you thinking ship customization is going to be at/beyond release? Only skins, colors, small customized parts, beyond loadouts, are fully modular on all/most ships, swapping wings, fuselage, etc.
For the most part,
Part
I
of
think
it depends on the ship.
I don't think the airframe will be able to be changed, wings and fuselage.
Unless it's a modular ship to begin with.
Yeah, like a
You
like
might get a little bit of that.
Well, that would
Yeah,
be
yeah,
its own.
totally.
That would be its own module then.
Yeah.
That's not part of the airframe.
Yeah,
So-
fair enough.
well, I mean, like the front of the Constellation supposedly can be swapped out. You can swap the
The nose and stuff. yeah.
the glass nose from the Aquila onto the rest of them.
I'm just happy with skins and stuff. To be honest, I wish they had more skins than now. I would actually buy them right now and use them.
I would
I think
like
cosmetic
I would
items.
like Sims in space, and people are gonna hate me for saying that, but I'd like to be able to decorate the interior of my ship because my ship is going to be my home. You know?
Oh, 100%.
Space.
100%. And that is planned. So
I may or may not be completely biased in saying I want to be able to put a bar in my ship, and tables and chairs. Maybe someone wants to make a space bar out of their ship. I don't know. A pub in space, an astro pub, as it were. But it's something.
Wow, what a
something,
great idea! I'm gonna run with that.
but something like that is actually kind of makes sense in the sense that you may want to put, say, you want to put like a tactical readout table in a ship that has space for it. Why not? So long as you have power and space for it, why shouldn't you be able to do that?
Yeah, it should be like the hangar, right? So it has like the little,
Attachment points, or at least like kind of like how they do the placement system with the boxes, where you can place it down and you got a little reading zone. Like this is where you can put it. But yeah.
I'd say I'd support cosmetics at first.
Yeah, definitely the cosmetics. I'd like to be able to buy skins and then have a color palette that we can use to swap out the colors on those skins. And that's it.
I want them to have people who have like a license or something to design new skins, sell them.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Like a
That would
graphic
be
designer
badass.
or something.
Yes, his
Hell.
parts. I like where you're going with that. I'm on board.
I
They have said before that they don't want it to be fully customizable because then they'd have to look at all of them to make sure it's
Well, they-
appropriate content.
Oh, and then
for
it
the
would be
game.
then every ship in the verse would have a penis on it.
yeah.
Like
Exactly.
every single one.
I would still like to have
yes,
decals.
I want to be a graphic designer in Star Citizen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my Dur would definitely have boobs like day one release of that.
Well,
I can make my own skin.
I'd like some decals.
Your own skin?
My own
your own
skin,
skin. Yeah. Are you piloting a Geon Scout there with you? With
Of
that?
course,
Yeah.
yes. What, you guys are so. You always take it to a dirty place, Paul.
Yeah. I just said it's a Geon Scout, right? It's a
You're
Geon Scout.
right.
It's how you pilot a Geon Scout. I'm not even kidding.
What did that
scout?
scout ever do to me?
Yeah.
I'm groping it.
Oh, but I think decals would be a good idea. Just being able to upload or customize some decals.
I think customized decals are totally possible if they could do it in EVE Online for years and years and years now. And I understand it goes through the review process, but sometimes that review process for EVE takes 2, 3, 6 months. Who
Yeah.
cares? If you can get your own stuff in there, you pay the fee,
Or
it's
you-
another avenue of stuff,
Yeah,
and then
pay
they
fees.
review it, and then it's a decal. So you can't splice images together and make the TTP, as they call it in EVE, the time to penis. So you just make those decals.
Mhm.
It'd be cool.
Just nose art, that the decals is nose art. People like that kind of concept as well. So.
The one request I have is the ability to name your ship and have the name on it. So however they want to implement that, like customizable decals of any kind, sure. But I definitely want to be able to do that.
Is that like a decal?
Could be.
Yes.
Also, another thing that no one's talking about: skins for habitation pods, or like rovers
Oh,
and stuff like that.
yeah.
Paint your habitation pod an ugly color, like a bright pink and yellow or something like that, so everyone can see it. Let them know your test squadron with your test glow colors all over the fucking place, or let them know that you're a proud Meowcenary with a giant space kitten skin on your star kitten skin on your modules. Yeah,
What would you?
we've decided that anyone who we want to put together a group of terrifying individuals who they give themselves funny names like Mr. Bojangles and do nothing but hunt down players and kill them, so that people and call themselves the Meowcenaries, and have this so people are like in game screaming, "Oh my God, it's Mr. Fluffy Buttons! Run! He kills everyone!" like an A team, but like with and they all have Star Kitten like everything.
Yes.
Just a bright, obnoxious Star Kitten colors. That way,
Boy,
it's
do I
the
sign up for
ultimate,
this.
the ultimate troll like brigade. You know, Prime Minister Brojangles.
I'm changing my handle to Commander Z-Man Fluffy Buttons.
Next question though. Let's see. Spaceship Training Wheels asks. We're getting towards the end of it, and some of these are really kind of short questions. Would it be better to have the new website go live for the holiday live stream rather than the launch of 3.0 to go live? No. Because I don't think the holiday live stream is going to attract a lot of new players to purchase, just attention to.
Well, it really depends on what that Squadron 42 thing looks like.
Mhm.
If it's a giant cinematic reveal of the game, then it might attract a lot of new players. It really depends.
Well, what they should do is they should update the Squadron 42 site, because that's a separate site from
Yes.
Star Citizen.
Absolutely.
If they updated the Squadron 42 site at the holiday live stream and then did Star Citizen separately, that would work.
Honestly, I'm for the Star Citizen site whenever they're ready to go. It's good with me.
I think
could be tomorrow.
They're linking some stuff with 3.0, which is why they're waiting for it to go live with 3.0, because
Okay.
there's some stuff that's wrong with that.
It'll be soon.
Yeah.
Probably more Spectrum integration, and then by extension integration with a Delta patcher. So they want to make sure everyone has it.
Did you have something to say? Someone's like, "Let the lady talk." It's like, did Miss Hart say something to say? I don't know.
I don't follow the bigger ships a whole lot, so I'm just smiling and nodding.
Look pretty, Miss Hearts. That's what I do.
That's why we I mean, that's the only reason why Z-Man's on here is eye candy.
That's
He's
right.
just here for us to get me them views, you know.
It's all about those sunglasses.
Yeah.
That's it, baby.
Now, for those of you guys who haven't seen Miss Hart's play, she is a dangerous dogfighter.
Hell
And-
yeah.
No, I just sit here and look pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what she wants you to think. That's what she wants you to think.
Oh, please don't.
Yeah. Is it the saber is your weapon of choice, or is it the Hornet?
No,
'Cause I know-
M50.
Yeah,
I,
M50.
well, you
Right,
could play
yeah.
M50, yeah.
The M50.
M50 with my two little M4As.
I hate fucking flight pilots like you, because it's like I can just sit here for an hour and I'll kill you in my M50 and you won't be able to hit me.
Exactly. Just
Yeah.
hit me. Come on, hit me.
Yeah.
Hit me. Yeah. I'm really annoying.
In game, she means, guys. Like,
I didn't say in game.
Zoldus asks, "Evening people, just curious, but do we have any info on how much known human space is UEE controlled? Is it 50-50?
I think most of human space is UE control.
30-70? Yeah, I think we're talking like
90-10.
yeah, like something like 6 or 7 systems is non-UEE controlled.
But of course, there's a very, very distinct indication that the beginning of Star Citizen's story will be a civil war
Yeah, or close to it. Yeah, the first
Yeah.
major incident in Star Citizen
between Terra and Earth.
Well, I think they've hinted at a couple big incidents. First off, the return of the Zavaran is something they've hinted at in lore. They've hinted
Absolutely.
hinted at a Vandal counterattack for something that was done in Squadron 42. And they've hinted at a civil war between Terra and Earth for the UEE. So
you may end up with 2 human factions pretty quick in Star Citizen.
it says, "P.S. Could be that I'm lazy to actually look it up with the map. P.P.S. Thanks for an awesome show. Thank you, Soldus." Arctic Games asks, "What do you think of the Mustang rework that they showed us more details about over the sale? I like it. It's sexy."
I like it.
Yeah, very nicely done.
I'm happy Mustangs are getting some.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's about
now-
freaking time that they learned that you have to fold wings on things that you plan on putting on aircraft carriers.
Yes.
Okay. That's all
On
I'm
top
saying.
of it, they also have. Don't they have landing gear now for the they're not
Yes,
landing on
yes,
the
it does.
skids?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted to sort of give people a break because I think they were a little worried about the gameplay implications of I blew a wing off a Mustang and I can't land it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Without blowing it up. So,
I'm getting a crime stat.
yeah. My personal thing is
Park wrong, you get a crime stat.
my first my game package is the Pathfinder. So I have the 315p. I am incredibly excited to see what they do with a rework of the 300 series because it needs one.
It's the same model we had in Arena Commander 1.0. Actually, Arena Commander 0.8. It's the same model. It's the oldest ship that has yet to get a rework.
And the interior looks
Well,
exactly the
it's
same as it did
scheduled
at that point.
work.
Yeah, because the Avengers got a rework since then. The Avenger was a 0.1 release.
I do hope they keep the gull-wing doors, though. I do. I've always liked those.
Yes. They just need to do something with the interior. Like, the interior is currently entirely useless. So either do something with it or get rid of it.
They're gonna change the gull-wing doors because, like, how are you gonna fit a cargo box in there?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I'd like to see it stay, but we'll see what
I'm almost certain it's going to get bigger.
Yeah, probably. Who's touching it? Who is it? Is it?
It's the
Manchester office?
No, it's the guy who did. It's the guy at Austin. Chris Smith, I think.
Chris Smith.
Yeah, he's doing it. He's the one who. He's also the one who did it originally, like the first time it was developed. The guy who did the constellations.
Okay.
Recently.
That'd be cool.
Yep.
But yeah, back on Mustangs, excellent job.
Yeah, excellent job. I can't wait to see the new Bangstang. I want to see more about the Delta because the Delta is another one of the ships that hasn't gotten a lot of love.
So I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna have to step out. But yeah, you guys have an awesome time. Thank you so much for inviting me on.
No problem.
And have a good night.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bye, everybody.
Make sure you guys are following him on Twitter, hanging out. Thank you, Car.
See you.
Bye.
Hold
Good
on.
night.
That's a great Queen Wave there, Z-Man.
That's all the single Warhogs. It is. It's all the single Warhogs. All single Warhogs. All single Warhogs.
Alrighty. Human Evil, that's disgusting. He says, Miss Harris has a great-looking pussycat. Do you agree, Paul? Yes. Yes. He's tiny. Though then again, my cats are just huge.
No, he's he's not around. He's not tiny. He's only 7 months old.
Oh yeah, he's young.
First of all, he's still a kitten, and he is pretty
a commander
darn big.
too.
He's still in his first season. He doesn't have his beard yet.
He doesn't have his beard yet, but he does the Riker maneuver, right? He does the
He
step
does
over
actually.
things.
He climbs up on the back of chairs. Yeah.
Yeah.
He does actually do the Riker maneuver.
Oh.
Awesome.
Next
He
question.
starts running like Riker with his chest out, though. Then I'd be weird. That's how Riker runs. And
Cam always has a joke about Riker. Anytime Riker is brought up in any conversation, she's just like, I feel so sorry for the man. He never gets anything, no matter how good looking he is. He just never gets any luck from the space women, as much as he tries. Because they always end up being like, they always end up dying or ending up being like some sort of horrific creature trying to kill everybody, or Next question comes from Zoldus, who asks, are you guys disappointed or happy with how Squadron 42 have become more open allegedly and less rigid allegedly in the story than the Wing Commander games? Honestly, I am glad that we're getting a game that isn't as cinematic as the Wing Commander 3 and Wing Commander 4. Because I think that's been the major problem of games these days, is that they've been too focused on making it like a movie and less making it like a game you play. Which I prefer. And having an open world is nice.
yeah, as long as it doesn't become like Witcher,
Yeah.
you know, where it's like, okay, next cutscene.
Yeah.
Like, do one thing. Next cutscene.
Yeah, or something that's overwhelming like Witcher, where it's like you have this huge world and you're never going to explore all of it unless you spend 70 hours going through the whole thing. And no one wants to do that except for people who are really focused on that kind of stuff. And so it ends up becoming kind of a polarizing where not everyone's going to always experience it. So long as it's got enough diversity that people will want to explore it, but not so much diversity that it becomes a chore to, it becomes a fetch quest, for everything is a fetch quest. Like, oh, go here and beat these pirates so you can get the achievement, so you can beat 10 pirates in this system. It's like, no one fucking cares about that. Please don't do that. That's not gameplay content. That's just stretching something out to say that it's longer. So.
Right.
I hope they have FOIP in it.
That'd be kind of cool. It'd be
I think
kind
it'd
of
be
cool.
really cool because you could
They have
RP in
what?
there and run around, have FOIP.
FOIP,
And Squadron
FOIP.
42.
Yeah.
So
So
your mouth move and everything, so you could just have your character on the screen, be like trolling other NPCs.
yeah,
Be fun.
maybe certain words you could say to actually have response. So instead of like having
You could
instead of
play
having an
like
inner
GTA
thought
5.
system.
You know.
Well, yeah. Instead of like
See
having
if I've-
instead of like an inner thought system, you could have like instead of clicking it, you just say it. You know.
Yep. That'd be neat.
That would be neat. Do you ever play that? Do you ever play that old Klingon game where you control everything with your microphone, but you have to do it in Klingon?
No, I haven't done it with Klingon. There's actually a game, like a horror game, where you had to
Sounds
like
interesting.
control someone trying to escape from a ship, and you had to do it. It was like on a PS3, and you had to do it with a mic. Like
Yeah.
you couldn't control it at all. You had to be like, turn left, turn right, go straight, and then they would move. They would acknowledge and move where you were going, tell them to go. So, kind of like you're trying to guide them out. All right, next question comes from Zoldus, who asks, which Drake ship did you vote for? What other Drake concept would you rather have seen? Miss Hartz, which one did you vote for?
I haven't voted.
You should go vote.
Release the Kraken!
Mitachi,
Vulture.
I haven't voted either.
you haven't voted?
You're full of shit. You come on.
Z-Man, how about you?
Anything but the vulture. I haven't decided yet.
That's good. I was torn between. So, I was torn between the Vulture and the Kraken because I like to blow shit up, and the Kraken will help me blow shit up because it could pack a whole bunch of, well, at least a couple of fighters into it and go and blow shit up. But at the end of the day, someone's got to clean up the mess. So we need a salvage ship too. So the Vulture is good for that. So I was torn there at the beginning, and then I said, "Look, I don't want to be a garbage man in the verse. I don't need a Vulture." So I voted for the Kraken. Long story short, short story long.
Yeah,
Release the Kraken!
I like the concept of saying release the Kraken, but I voted for the Vulture because I personally think we need more professions. But yeah,
Garbage man Paul.
Garbage Man Paul. Because there's only one garbage woman though.
Loot stealer is
Yeah.
what that thing is. Loot stealer.
Next question comes from Spaceship Training Wheels, who said, Monthly Report mentioned that the new website will have a different format for the roadmap schedule, and then that's it. Thank you. I think he hit enter before he finished typing. Cool. Zoldus asks, they just loosely talked about a hover tank in the Drake concept contest. Dragonfly aside, or not, depending on how you feel about it, is hover technology not Drake? Should Drake be more low tech in your guys' minds? No, they don't have low tech hover tech. Like their hover tech is like overcompensated. If you look at a Dragonfly, it's got 4 hover things on it, whereas like the Nox is like a straight line, and even the X1 is a straight line. Like they have like overabundance of hover just because it's so cheap. How about you guys? What do you guys think?
I tried not to. It hurts.
I don't know.
What was the question again?
Is hover tech too low tech, or too high tech for Drake? Is Drake too much of a low tech? Because
They already use it.
yeah, the idea was that you're using Dragonfly aside. One of the thoughts of the concept was a Drake tank, like a Drake hover tank.
I just don't see Drake making a hover tank, though. I think a hover tank could be cool in the game, but not Drake.
No,
They could do something.
I
way
think a
more
hover tank is
grindy.
kind of stupid idea, honestly, personally.
I think
It works good in Tron, but
yeah, I think the only way you'd see a hover tank in game is the only manufacturer I can think of would be probably Origin, but even then, Aegis kinda. I mean, probably has to be a completely new manufacturer for like military hover tech, because that's more
You
Xi'an
have to have
based.
a crazy shock system in it, though.
Mhm.
Just like, because otherwise, a hover tank naturally with the physics would
Flip
get pushed
over.
back.
Yeah.
yeah.
Flip over, yeah. So,
Yeah, I'm not down with the hover tank. So if you're going like all wheels on your ATV rovers, whatever you want to call them, like why go hovers then on something that's gonna have a big gun attached to it?
Mm-hmm.
I wish Drake would make construction vehicles.
Yeah, I
where
want to
that-
see the gun shoot and the ship go back.
Yeah,
Drake construction vehicles.
you want to know how a hover tank's gonna work? Take one of those things they use to play air hockey with and
Yeah.
strap a firecracker on top of it.
Oh, no, but that's actually a good point. I'd like to see a Drake competitor to the Pioneer. Like Pioneer
That would
builds
be cool.
Pioneer builds a legitimate ship, like a craft. Drake will build stuff to Drake way, where like you got one airlock and it's you have to depressurize the whole freaking building to be able to even get in, because it's easier for them to do that than it is to build an airlock or something like that. You know.
Yeah. Drake should have a whole line of construction vehicles, and maybe have one of the construction vehicles that can make a tank.
Yeah.
But it would be something that was meant to do something else that people adapted afterwards
yeah.
Like, it'd be a tank or something like that.
Yeah.
Hover
Yeah.
tank's
I can see
little
like a
too sleek
flying
designed.
tank. I could see like a flying tank, like a tank that
Has
takes
wings.
off,
Yeah.
like goes someplace, and say
Oh,
DeLorean
and then
or
it lands.
Yeah.
lands and then like puts his wheels back out and shoots stuff, and then like take like that.
Yeah.
I could see like a jump
That
tank.
that would be cool for an artillery piece. As big as the planets are, imagine doing artillery with physics. You could like be on like way far away and just like
Yeah, but
Arc.
orbital artillery,
Yeah.
like
yeah,
you have spaceships, so
yeah. But Drake could make something ground wise.
Mhm.
right.
A construction vehicle that they redid.
Okay.
Keep going back to combat here.
Spa-
Cloud seeder that they switched over.
Spaceship Training Wheels got back with his question. He said, monthly report mentioned in the new website would have a different format for the roadmap schedule. What format changes would you like to see for the new roadmap?
Format changes in a new roadmap.
Yeah. What we
Updates.
have updates, but yeah, something we already have now is fine. Like the graphs
Yeah.
of like what specific features
I'm
we're
good with it.
working on, and then like what needs to get done. That kind of stuff would be better.
Just updates on
Mm-hmm.
the current one would be good.
Just knowing what's going on would be nice. You know,
Yeah.
how much of it's done, how much of it's not done. You know.
Yep.
Even just something like Mission 1 at Greybox, Mission 2 complete. You know, whatever.
And to be fair, Aaron said that's coming.
Yeah.
In the holiday live stream. We're supposed to see some sort of progress schedule for Squadron 42. So
Human Evil asks, "What's the odds of Z-Man falling out of his chair, leaning that far back?"
Slim to none.
Never tell
I've
him the
done that
odds. Never tell Z-Man the odds. I've done it twice, live on stream, where I've leaned
I've-
the whole way back. I've just
Riker did that live on stream one time. He was laying in his little bed right next to me, and he stretched and fell right off. I've got a gift. Here, let me see
I'm
if I
gonna
can find-
complete the stream like this now, just because of that question.
Oh,
he's had
mayonnaise.
plenty of practice. He's got it.
Mayonnaise015 asks, in Squadron 42, do you think we'll earn enough rank to command a capital ship, fighter squadron, or smaller unit? I don't think we'll ever command a capital ship.
Hey, do I have link permission?
You don't think
let me get
we'll
permission
ever
real quick.
command a capital ship in Squadron 42 or in the PU?
In Squadron 42.
I don't
Oh.
know, man.
I don't
Well-
think you'll command one, but I think you might actually get to fire a big gun or do something on the cap. But I don't think they'll
You may
say,
get
"You
the
command."
yeah, you may have an option, like there's a mission where the captain's dead and you're the highest ranking officer in the ship, and you have to do a last minute ditch before you get out or something like that. But I
Maybe
don't.
it's along the career path. I mean, you're talking how many missions that they're planning on, how many storylines. You know,
But
choose
I-
your own adventure. You might make your way up the captain's
I
rank.
think we'll still have it's like a Mass Effect. You have lots of different branches, but they're all going to lead to the same options. How you get to the end point is what matters, not necessarily the end point. And the ending is probably going to be a little bit canned because it's a story. It's got to tell a story.
So it's Mass Effect. Shepard gets the Normandy like in the first episode.
Yeah,
So
but then he doesn't command the Normandy in battle. You know what I mean? Like that's the difference. Is that Mass Effect he gets Normandy to tell him where he wants to go. In Squadron 42, you're told where to go. You know, you don't get to tell where to go except for when you're on your fighter missions because it's more focused on fighter and FPS than it is.
it'll be
capital
interesting
ships.
to see the storyline that they pursue.
Mhm.
We're all waiting for it. So
Next question. Blank asks, what kind of game mechanics and ships do you think for solo farming? Solo farming as in solo farming for doing stuff, or solo farming as in actually farming? Because farming is actually in the game.
hydroponics.
Probably,
Hey, there's already.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Those
I took the trash out of the hydroponics plant the last
yeah,
couple.
see?
74 UEC. What kind of ripoff is that, man?
it's nothing. That's not even covering your fuel costs, man. What kind of mechanics for farming itself? probably. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of solo farming. You probably
some kind of cultivator, right?
Yeah, you'll have to probably actually plant your like flag. You'll probably have to build a base to be able to do solo farming like that. Because otherwise you have to buy an Endeavor, which is huge. I don't think there's going
There'll
to be.
definitely be potatoes and human waste.
Yeah.
So, we got the whole Martian thing on lockdown.
There you go.
Next question comes from Jack Avalon, who asks, with the addition of the Hammerhead, Polaris, and Eclipse, the Retaliator's role has shrunken, in my own opinion. What roles do you see the Retaliator fulfilling now? Dropship, armored cargo ship, new modules such as E-War, something we haven't heard of. I don't think it's gone. I don't think the
I'm forgetting about the Retaliator.
the Retaliator is going to be able to fit in smaller jump points than the rest of those things you just mentioned.
Yep.
That's the key. The key is strike.
It's a bomber.
It's a bomber. You go in through the bigger ships can get there, but the smaller ships, the bombers, can get there faster, and they can
Way
get
more
there.
maneuverable too.
Mm-hmm.
Way more maneuverable. People don't realize how. I mean, look at the size of the Polaris, and then think about you driving a Starfare. Even though it's maneuverable, you're talking about maneuverability of a Polaris by compared to like capital ships.
Yeah,
The Retaliator is going to be super maneuverable compared to like these other ships.
it's still going to need help.
Yeah.
It's not a
Yeah.
ship you could ever fly solo into a battle. You're going to need
Hell
a fighter
no, you can't
escort.
even have guns on the damn thing if you don't have
Well,
a turret.
Yeah.
And if you have Polarises and stuff on the field, you want the Caps focusing fire trying to kill the
Polaris.
Polaris, not trying to kill the Tallies. So the Tallies jump in, deploy torpedoes, GTFO, and fend off fighters at the same time. So
Yeah.
they're going to be heavily armored too. So
Yeah.
they're going to be able to deal with the.
It's just because we have aircraft carriers and battleships, or not battleships, heavy cruisers, doesn't mean we don't still have B-52s. They fit similar roles to do different things.
I don't see the Retaliator as a B-52 though, Paul. I see it as like a B-17 meets a B-1B bomber.
Yeah, something like that.
B-52 is like a heavy bomber,
Yeah.
where a Retaliator is like a fast strike.
Yeah, it's
first
not.
strike
It's something you use for shock and awe rather than for continuous fleet bombardment. It's something that flies in, does what it needs to do, and gets out. Whereas like the Polaris sits there and gets covered by other ships. It's part of a fleet formation rather than than solo. Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole variety of bombers. Like you don't want the Eclipses would be like a first strike.
Mhm.
Retaliator would be something you could bring onto the field and would be able to stay on the field longer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The people.
Retaliator is not going to survive on its own though. You definitely gotta have to have
depends
a
what
fighter
the target. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, any of these you're going to want a complement fleet, but it's going to survive more hits than Eclipse will. Eclipse whole thing is like you didn't see us coming.
Yeah.
They aren't going to stay out there.
Yeah,
It's
Eclipse
like
is a
Retaliator.
stealth bomber. It goes in
Right.
first, it hits and runs. And
Yes.
the Retaliator, you can't hide a Retaliator as easily as an Eclipse. But you can still hide a Retaliator better than an entire fleet of Polarises.
And we're not even thinking about using things like Retaliator against ground targets, right? Say
Yeah.
you had a squadron of like 6 Retaliators. That's devastating with all those guns coming in there and stuff.
orbital
That's insane.
bombardment again.
That's right.
And we actually do know some of the other roles because the Retaliator in lore and in design has modularity in the actual bays to change them to being livable quarters, so you can use them as long-range exploration craft because they do have
Troop
long
carrier.
ranges. A troop carrier.
See,
There's actually-
Matauchi, every time Matauchi talks about spaceships, I think he's like running the Battle of Hoth in his mind.
He probably
Oh, you
is.
got it, baby.
That's the Eve. That's the Eve in Matachi. Like he spent so many years in Eve that he has to
everything's a
run it
battle.
like that.
Everything's a battle, man.
But no. But
Going to take out the shield generators, right?
That's what they want, right? They don't want you to just orbital bombard. They want to make sure you got troops on the ground to drop the shields to orbital bombard.
But it actually, in my opinion, has the coolest dropship function because they changed the missiles, the things that would like lower down the torpedoes to actually lowering down troops. So when you land, the bomb bay doors open and you land, your troops get deployed vertically down. So you can like release their harnesses as they go straight down. So they have the protection of the bottom turrets as they land. So it becomes a really interesting kind of converted dropship. So.
So Imperial Walkers, when are we getting them? Matauchi.
Exactly.
Hey, well, they're already trying to do that with these silly little Titan suits and stuff, right?
Yeah. No, but we need
I said that's
real
Iron
walkers.
Man.
We need
I want
massive.
Imperial Walkers.
Yeah.
Walkers are interesting, and I think if they have anything to say about it, they will put some sort of like mech in. Something.
Giant mech.
But I even think the Titan suits, I think more of like was it like Edge of
Gundam
Tomorrow type stuff.
Yeah.
I think those should be, because they were talking about they didn't put them in because they couldn't fit in hallways.
Yeah.
Those things shouldn't be in hallways. They should walk through walls, not
Yeah.
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 They have an airlock on the back of them. You go into the wall.
Yeah.
The wall closes, and you're in the
Yeah, no, yeah, something like Fallout 4, where you actually have to climb into the suit
Yeah.
and then become part of it, but you're basically in your
Exactly.
own kind of.
Exactly. Not as sleek as like an Iron Man, but something a lot more bulky. But yeah, I think when you get to like the mechs,
I think that would be
stuff,
like an Iron Man would be like a light armored mech suit, where a Gundam or Voltron would be heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the Titans may have different variants.
I think more like a Hulk cluster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If you're gonna go Iron Man like that size, like the scaled up, like we
Sure.
need something a little bigger.
Or
Yeah.
the
No,
if you read
the
Starship,
Warhammer,
Starship Troopers, those big suits that they wore.
I could deal with something more Space Marine-y, but
Well,
you gotta
Space
remember,
Marine is-
Space Marines are also huge dudes.
Yeah.
They're so like genetically modified. They're like those guys are basically like
that's basically what the heavy marine armor is, though. The heavy marine armor is massive. It makes you look bulky as crap,
Space Marine suits bigger than that though.
Yeah,
I mean it's
a little bit,
huge.
yeah.
Wielding
The
like
size of a
6-foot
Van Duel.
hammer.
Yeah.
Titanfall.
Chainsaws. When are they gonna have with chainsaws?
Chainsaws for sheer enjoyment.
No other practical purpose.
Nope.
Drive closer. I need to hit him with my sword.
You could use them for breaching, right?
Mhm.
Like chainsaws.
That'd be pretty badass.
That would be badass.
Avisceratus asks, when do you expect they might start adding fauna into the game? And do you think they will revolutionize the way animals path and their behaviors to the same degree that they're doing with other aspects of the game? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's get the AI working first before we start talking revolutionary stuff.
Yeah. I was gonna say the AI right now in Port Ollie's like leaning against.
Yeah, they're mimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like calculating on their tablets that aren't there sometimes.
Yeah.
So, got to get a little farther.
But no, I think 3.1. I don't think we're gonna get it. Like, I think 3.0 because they either 3.1 or 3.2 because they did show it off at CitizenCon, and they do seem to be. They always seem to talk about some sort of fauna that they're working on, because it feels like what they're doing is building a big creature kind of menagerie that they can pull from.
Yeah, the first fauna you'll get will be probably some sort of pack mentality AI that like affect you when you land on planets that might kill you.
Yeah,
if you don't watch your ass. That'll be badass.
Like those Metroids from CitizenCon.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That'll be cool, but it'll probably just be brainless. Like, oh look, human eat, and that's it.
What question you are on the list? No, there's no way because I'm going through a lot of this and I'm skipping a couple of them as we go. Next question: do you think you can place all the hangars you own? That means you have free landing at all the time at that location. Yeah, that's what they mean to be. Will those be like the default public hangars, or they mention ATV or procedural tech planet somewhere else on the planet? No, only where you can put the hangars is where you're going to see the hangars. So any major planetary landing that has hangars, you can put it there. Like I think even Levski, you could probably have a starting point on Levski because it's if you look at it, it's basically a asteroid hangar.
I gotta say that's one of the things I've looked forward to the most is the social module that we never got. I just want people to come over to my hangar and check out my cool shit.
Yeah.
Hangar party.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a
That's
huge.
true. I want to
RP
use for my
aspect of the game.
jukebox.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And the booze bar, other than sadly drinking alone.
That's true.
Yeah.
They're trying to make us all alcoholics.
And we still can't go into the first drunk.
Nope. You could early in 2.6.3 because of how fast it loaded up. You could drink a bunch in the hangar and then load up into like a free flight wing commander or arena commander, and you'd be flying around with the drunk effects. So
it was great.
Next question comes from Tech Mojo, who asks, will NPCs have alignments? Will we see certain NPC factions battling with each other while players go about their business? Yes. Not really alignments. They'll have reputation, though, yes. And should we expect missions to be created from events like these dynamically, or are missions going to be generated behind closed doors? Probably more behind closed doors than dynamic. Dynamic's a
Hard
little.
to say with the complexity of what they have the mission system. If they get it working, they can do almost anything. It's crazy what they've got built back there. But
I think it'll be behind closed doors, but they'll have situations. Like for instance, if the Nova Runners are fighting the Ninetales, the two major factions in Yella's asteroid belt as pirates.
or if the Vandul invade, right?
Yeah.
The system.
But that's going to be a scripted event. That won't be something that they just do dynamically. It'll be something that actually is.
I think they will, and I think there's going to be border areas though where it's dynamic, where it might hit one system at one point in time randomly, and you don't know it. And they do it in Eve now. They have it's like an algorithm, and there's certain areas that shit happens.
I figure it'll be a cross between the weekly community events of Elite and and that kind of stuff with Eve, because you still don't want it to be random. You still want to have an impact on the story, because they will still want to be able to tell the story of the universe slightly. They want to be able to.
I think they can do it.
Yeah,
the writers are smart.
But for 100%, we'll see NPCs battling each other all the time. Who can participate in the battles?
Absolutely.
You'll get hired on to do some of these battles. Like there'll be missions that say hey, we're going against we're going to clean out the Nova Riders for once and for all. Come with us.
What would be crazy is if you came into a system and you went you're heading to a planet and you see an NPC battle and you just randomly get involved. It's not a precursor to a mission. And then based on which side you help, they contact you and offer you a mission. That would be a pretty cool dynamic.
In the missions right now, there's actually a mission where you have a chance to encounter a allied NPC fighting against pirates, which works right now. There was one that me and Diablos encountered. We were trying to clear out some of the pirate groups in Yella's asteroid belt, and the second mission, suddenly we saw a blue marker pop up. Is that a player? Is that another NPC? Is that a bug? We looked at it, and it was an allied Aurora LN. It's like an Aurora LN from a militia trying to clear out the pirates. So
that's freelancer.
Cool. Next question: do you think Star Citizen will ever have other playable races, and if so, what race would you play, Ms. Hartz?
I don't think you're going to be able to play other. Although that would be cool, and if so,
Vandal Lives Matter.
Vandal Lives Matter. Matachi?
Wow, that would be neat. I'd probably have to go Xi'an if I was going to play a different race than human.
Do you want some pizza, bro?
Yeah, man. I'm totally going Xi'an too.
Yeah.
I'll be your
I got two pizza bros down here. I got two Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They're really small. I was surprised. If I do, I'd have to go with the Groot race, just so I could walk around and be like, I am Paul.
I am Groot.
I am Paul. I am Paul. I am Paul. The Banu. The Banu are interesting enough, and I do think that we will be able to play with other alien races, but I think that's so far down the line that there's no point in speculating. That's first actual DLC pack that they get, and it'll be something that's 5 years in the making after they've released the game.
They also have to build more of their infrastructure systems for their own, for those races and stuff. I think.
That's.
Wait. I have a better answer to this.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know a race I want to play first, and a lot sooner.
What's that?
Female.
Oh.
Although it's a gender, not a race, but I agree.
Yeah, there we go.
No, not a race. But my point is, we need to develop the human part of it a bit more before we start playing other races.
Yeah,
and I think they will, but yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
I'm glad that they stepped back on the character customization, because my biggest concern or my biggest critique was you're going to add character customization to 3.0, but you're not going to have female character model. Why the hell are you doing double the work?
Yeah.
That would be such a mistake.
It was just a stupid mistake. It's a bad kind of way of building something, because it's just asking for someone to get angry at you because you're like, we have character customization but no women. Are there no women in the future? Is that what we're trying to say?
Well,
and,
if
two, it's double work.
CIQ was smart, they would just say, listen, our characters don't have any genitalia, so they're not officially any sex.
Any sex. And the thing is that there's also going to be a lot of people out there who play women in places like things like Star Marine just because there's smaller hitboxes too. So there's also some mechanical aspects you wanted to try to work out as well to figure out how you can balance the different models, let alone just the gameplay itself. Next question comes from Jiru, who asks, do you think you can get a plot of land, add some outposts, and then fly some settlers to populate the land? Like create your own colony?
I hope so.
If you got a pioneer, right? Isn't that what they're supposed to do?
That's kind of my dream now since Pioneer came out.
I've always liked the idea of having colonies you can set up and NPCs asking for, like, trying to recruit NPCs to fund the colony. But I don't know if we're going to get that intense at release. But
This land is your land.
Zord, that would be kind of funny. Having a pioneer and having Genesis Starliners and set up your own company just to colonize new places. So you're paying, people are paying you to get to their new to buy land in your and also travel into your places.
It's a moon. It's not like you're colonizing like unexplored.
Well, no, these aren't just going to be on moons. They're going to be on planets.
It's like the Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
It's like if I went into southern Missouri and nobody lives.
You just cut out there.
That's more like it turns into a cult.
Well, it's to a degree.
That's like what Westbrook Drew said.
We missed what part you said, but the idea is less that it's more like southern Missouri in 1830 rather than southern Missouri today, So that wasn't cult, though it kind of was. It was still like
you wouldn't want to live in southern Missouri in 1830.
No one wanted to, except for the crazy people who moved there,
No air conditioning, hell no.
Next question comes from, what are your thoughts on stealing ships, and how should you think it should be implemented? It's already in the game for 3.0. You can steal ships and log out on them, and you can lock them out.
But you can't breach yet.
No, you can't breach yet. You can steal NPC ships, and now that they've added the logout feature, you could theoretically steal a ship and hold on to it forever.
That's right.
If it works, right?
It worked last night. The logout feature did. We tested it and on a Vanguard, and it worked. The problem is that if the owner logs out, it logs out.
They took the beds out of the Caterpillar, though.
No, they didn't take all of them. They took out half the beds. There's still 4 beds in there.
Couldn't find them. Mine it was all gone.
Oh, there may be a bug then.
So you guys
Because
shouldn't be
that
sleeping
ship
on
is
the job
bugged as
anyway.
shit.
A bug?
ETA28 asks, question, the hangars will be in the PU or will they be separate? Yes, they're going to be in the PU.
Eventually they'll be.
Yeah. And will there be apartments in the PU they can live in? I don't know. I hope so.
A hangar.
Well, I mean, like the idea of buying like an apartment on Terra rather than having.
They've talked about us being able to rent properties different. They haven't implemented.
I want to just put a rack in my hangar. What if I want to sleep with my ships?
You can't.
Well, which
judge
hangar
me.
is it? Is it the asteroid hangar that's got the couch that someone has obviously been sleeping on?
There's Lando.
That's just Lando's couch. That's where Lando's keys are in that couch.
Yeah.
It's parked right next to Lando's hole.
Yeah.
I would want to sleep on the couch.
Oh. There is the actual like cot you used to be able to buy in the Voyager Direct store that you can put in your hangar.
Yeah, I do remember the cod. Yep.
Wow.
You can
wow.
have guests.
Holy
You just
fuck.
can't sleep anywhere.
All right, time for lightning round because we're getting like
Lightning
3
round.
hours and we've got a lot of stuff left. Joke question: I hear people say Vandal are just false flag threat from the UEE to keep us under thumbs. Puts tinfoil hats. Thoughts? Totally true. Next moving.
And the lives matter.
How do you guys think there will be multi-character? How will be the multi-character aspects of the game? I think you'll have 3 different. Depending on your account, if you have like multiple character slots or multiple characters, I think that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, sure. I'm down. Next.
Commander J. Shepard, do we know if they're going to be a real mapping system so we can navigate without orbital markers, planets and moons? Can we chart our own course?
Eventually.
Yeah,
With
just
the beacon system, yes.
the
Part
way,
of exploration, yeah.
well, the way that the current system works in terms of someone told me this theory, and I think this is what it is. The way that the current QT system works is it has to work off of beacons because the game has to calculate the distance you're going and when to pull, how long to spool up and spool down your approach. So it actually takes you out of excuse me. It actually takes you out of the instance.
Takes you out of the Achu system.
Yeah, takes you out of the instance to spool up and then go, and then it brings you back into the instance as you get to the point. So until you can actually put down orbital markers, like actual, like, hey, I want to go here and here and here. You will have to just go to where the actual known points are. But we don't even have scanning in, so I think that requires that to be.
And also, orbital markers spin with the planets.
Mm-hmm.
They maintain their orbit exactly with the spin of the planet. So you have to remember that as well, because I don't know if the beacons will do that or not.
Yeah.
Should.
We don't know yet.
Ozzy the Yellow asks, what do you think about having redundant ships, i.e. multiple ships to do the same thing but built by different manufacturers, similar to what we have with fighters, but with mining, hauling, scavenging, and whatever?
Competition is good.
Mm-hmm.
More ships is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
They should do something slightly different from the other ones, though, for some reason. Like, some should be better at some stuff
Well,
than others.
it's the same thing like cars, right? You want to
Yeah.
have... This car's like, well, we have GPS and we have surround sound and heated seats, and this
Mhm.
car's like, no, we don't have
Or
that. We have a moonroof.
the Origin mining ship. You just park it and then just chill back and listen to classical music as your robots do all the mining for you.
That's right.
Triple U asks, customized decals for certain size thresholds. CIG could still reject dick butts, but it would be significantly cut down on the number of designs they'd have to review, or just put it up for public vote. If it reaches a certain public vote numbers that people are available, then they just go for it. But I think money is a good gateway for that.
No, I think public vote. They're still putting unwanted images out into the public. So I don't.
Yeah.
No, review process
Obviously,
only
they
by
would have
CIG.
their own moderation on that.
Yeah,
They'd have to.
but I think something like a pay gate would help, and
Absolutely.
And dick butts.
Pay to submit.
Or
There you
people apply to be merchants
Mhm.
to do that.
I like the idea of having it with an organization. Like, organizations require, like, you can have your org logo in game, but you need to apply for it, and it needs to be
You have to have a certain member threshold.
yeah, and
That way it's not every individual one person.
yeah.
And the way we worked at Neve is we had designers in Neve, and they just got paid ISK. We pay in game
Mhm.
the money to them. They'd submit it, and do it that way.
So it
Yeah, that's
so
what I was-
yeah.
so Miss Hartz gets her
I can
graphic
be a
design.
graphic designer in game.
Yeah.
because she's a badass designer, so therefore I'm going to go to her, say, hey, please make us a logo for the org, and then we'd pay her an ISK, and then we'd submit it and go through the process. They review it, and then there you go. And, yeah.
Captain Ducks asks, will we get pets with DLC armor? Yes. Hold on. I got to do this again. Yeah, bro, you'll get pets with DLC armor, but you know where you're getting them? Fucking loot boxes. Fuck you, pay me. There we go. That's how that works.
So I got it. My question is, Paul, if you do that every time you talk about loot boxes, when do I take my hat and sunglasses off? Every time I talk about gray-headed gamer?
Hi, I'm Gray-Headed Gamer. You just change it to a beanie. Take your sunglasses off your hat and turn it to a beanie.
Yeah.
And call
I get a
yourself Gray-Headed
paste
Gamer.
on beard or something.
Yeah.
There you go. Just color it in. If you
Yeah.
just get a mark, just color it in and work out better.
That'll look like Captain Richard if I color it in.
Well, you go dark, you could be both. It'd be perfect.
Gray-headed Richard.
Next question comes from Blank. Let's keep going through this fast because we're cutting through these real quickly. If the ships will be on a system where it deteriorates, would it make sense to the companies launch several models every time of every ship, like Aurora MR 2.0? Oh, so like the idea is that ships will eventually deteriorate. The idea that that's actually the plan is that eventually when the game
They
launches,
have different model years you're
Yeah.
talking about?
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, technically, isn't the Avenger a retired police car, and Gladius is a retired military ship?
Yes.
yeah, and so says Retaliator. Retaliator ships that you purchased in the universe are actually retired bombers.
Every ship pretty much is a not necessarily demilitarized, but stepped down and has gone to like militia service or civilian.
The Auroras are what every year they release a new Aurora. The Hornet was the F7C is a complete retool of the original one that they sold for the civilian market. Same with a lot of the Anvil.
Right. Well, as the Super Hornet was the C-M, and it's supposed to be like the militarized civilian version.
Yeah. So, Anonymous asks, what do you guys think of the Terrapin? I like my turtle. It's cool. I don't own one, but it looks cool.
Super useful scout military ship.
I have no purpose for that.
He doesn't need us.
I tried to
I'm
not
being
get too
blatantly
hyped
honest
about
with you.
concept ships until they're in.
Yeah.
Unless it's the blade.
I think
have no
that
purpose.
they look cool, and I think a lot of the problem is right now is that there's just no purpose for them yet in game. Like once we figure out what their purpose is, it'll be a little bit easier to.
We gotta
understand.
add the golf swing first. Come on,
Get the golf swing mechanic in. Oh my god.
let's do it.
Jaeger 05 asks, do you think there will be a ship that will have a ram board function like the good old pirate days? No, because that's not how the physics grid works. The physics system works. Though, if there was a ramming ship, it would instantly be purchased by all test squadron members and used to to ram stuff.
There are ramming ships.
They're called the
They're
Auroras.
Vanguard.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It's true, but it's like a ramming boarding ship, like ram into
Any
a
ship you
and
could
board.
aim and pull eject on. Is
Well,
a
I'm
ram.
just saying, in order for that to work for the Vanduul, that physics is gonna have to be there, right? Somehow. So it's gonna be interesting.
But that's
considering they're
that does that.
leveraging to just doorways and stuff.
Yeah.
Next,
Next
how that'll work.
Next question comes from Gilles Atter, who asks, that was the first I heard of hints of civil war after launch. Have they hinted what kind of government Terra is going to have, republic democracy? And are there reasons for civil war, including xenophobia of the Empire? So the lore is very simple. Terra is the new hotness. Earth is the old and busted. All the trade
There's
goes
a great
to Terra.
lore makers episode about that.
Go.
Damn it.
The short version of this is essentially Terra is the economic center of the empire. It's equivalent to the Constantinople of the late Roman era. Whereas
I'll put those hat and sunglasses back on a second. We need a new hotness and the old and busted.
okay, Terra is the new hotness, and Earth.
Earth is the Z-Man.
Hold on.
Wait.
Earth is old and busted.
Old and busted.
But essentially, people want Terra to be the center of the empire because it is more the center of the empire than Earth is. Earth is simply just the ancestral home of humanity, not really the center. And they've never been with the Earth politicians. There was a huge schism during the Messer era of the empire where Terra was really very different because they have really good relationships with the Xi'an and several other nation like alien species. They're more open, whereas Earth is very xenophobic. So there's a lot. It's more complicated than that. There's great lore makers up there, but
I'm sure Earth's probably overpopulated and polluted to hell. By
it's actually underpopulated now. But it's because no one wants to live there because it's polluted as hell. It's the old and busted. Who wants to live in the old world when you can go to the new kind of concept? And there's a lot more opportunities out there. Miss Hearts is now floating.
I clicked a button.
levitating.
I clicked a button. My fault.
You did things.
Let's finish this up pretty quick because we're almost there. Commander J. Shepard, do we know if there's going to be real mapping systems so we can? Yes, we already said that. Yes. Beng Chow, what's the last games you've played that made you awe in story, graphics, if it's time, of its time, and how fun you had playing it? Miss Hearts, what was the last game you played that made you awe in story, graphics, and fun?
I'm not sure if it's the last game, but the most memorable game is probably Final Fantasy XII.
That was actually pretty good, even for its graphics. At the time,
I
it's pretty
like
good.
I like the story and I like the mechanics of the battle.
Tachi?
That's hard. I was gonna say, other than the Star Citizen, probably just Eve. online because people don't think it's beautiful, but they really up the graphics. It's a really beautiful game.
Z-Man?
So I'm kind of biased about this because I lost my best friend a year ago this past November, and right before he passed, he said to me, "Dude, you got to play Titanfall 2." And I played it and I loved it, and I'm not sure if I loved it because it was like the last game he told me to play, or I really loved the game. But Titanfall 2 would be that one for me.
I would have to agree with Titanfall. Of my latest games that I've played, that is probably the most impressive game story-wise, because it was a simple story, but it got the point across. The characters were fun, the gameplay was fun, and the graphics were good enough for what it was looking to be. It wasn't crazy amazing graphics, but it was fun graphics.
Yeah. Okay.
So, in terms of all time, though,
It's so hard.
God, I can't even think of it. Probably Halo, the original Halo, only because of that twist in the middle with the flood was just at the time when I was like 15, so it was I know I'm young compared to most people here, except for Miss Hartz, who's only 18, so that's okay.
Rub it in, Paul.
Yeah. Assassin's Creed 2 was good too. I think that would be up there as well. But yeah, it's just that is also, again, as biased because it was my first real experience into modern gaming as a kid. That whole big, like, yeah. Next question comes from let's go to you, who asks, comment on having logged out players act as NPCs on multi-crew ships to keep stuff going, but with less efficiency. Maybe players can set up an offline script that dictates what their character does when they're offline. They probably could. I mean, you can set up macros right now to keep you logged in, even though it normally would time you out. But yeah, we'll see.
I think that'd be destructive to the economy.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be. I don't think you'd have to be pretty good at making scripts to be able to make it work properly.
I'd also think it's against the EULA
Yep.
to operate characters in the game while not at your.
Right.
Pigil asks, if 3.0 were an actual game released at proposed mechanics, would you pay for it? If it was 60 FPS and bug free, yeah. I did pay for it. Elite Dangerous.
Yeah, we all did. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it was $35. Oh wait, it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's think of it this way: nobody's ever heard of Star Citizen ever until 3.0 drops. Are you going to buy into it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
In terms of the cost of pay, yeah, and timeout. The problem is it's hard to also to judge because bugs are so present that you'd have to assume that bugs were not present in order for that to happen. ET828 asks, question, did they do a rework of the Freelancer Max? Yes, all of the variants of the Max variants of the Freelancer are getting reworked. Uzuzu asks, do you feel that the advent of 3.0, that production will, from this point forward, accelerate greatly? In short, is it usually best guesstimate for beta for Xmas 2019 and the release of summer 2020 still hold up, or do you feel like the timeline will becoming shorter? I don't know. That's a good question.
I remember when Paul didn't like the when
shorter.
questions.
Yeah, I changed that.
I still don't like the win question.
Yeah. Won't be shorter though.
No.
It'll be shorter. By any means.
I'm going to revert to Paul's. The last time I was on the captain's table, every time someone would ask Paul a when question, he would say 2020 or sooner.
Yeah.
Right? Or 2020 or later.
Yeah.
Those are the two answers.
I mean, and that's the problem is that it's really hard to tell. But I think we're in a situation where the features, I don't think will take as much time as 2 years. But I think
next year will be the telling thing.
But the content will. But yeah, next year if they actually get quarterly patches out and they're significant quarterly patches, then yes. But it's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell. Because again, it's all on how CIG does things. Because up till now, CIG has basically said, "Oh, everything we've done previously, we're just going to throw out the window and then start from scratch." And they've done that for 3 years, and they can't keep doing that. And I don't think they plan on keeping doing that. But we'll see. Joe's Got More asks, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst, How would you rank 3.0 currently regarding playability? In terms of
Him
beta?
being the worst?
In its current form, what would you rate it? 1 to 10? 10 being like never crashes, and
No,
yeah,
10
I'd probably
10
give it like
10's the worst.
10 being
he
the
said.
worst, he said.
Flipped it
10 the
upside
worst.
down.
I
I'm so confused by that.
Let's say
if-
10's the best.
10's the
Let's-
best. We're just going to swap that because that's
Yeah.
dumb. Sorry, Joe, but that's dumb. 1 being the worst, 10 being the best. In terms of playability with bugs, 6, maybe 5.
Yeah, I'd give it a 6 or 7, maybe.
Yeah.
I'd actually say 4.
Yeah, 4 to 5. Yeah. So
And I'd say that based on the past 24 hours with the lags.
the CPU specs
Those
are
are pretty bad.
terrible.
I would give it a
Those are-
6.5. If you want to compare it to 2.63, though, I would give it an 8.
Yeah, no, compared to previous
I
patches, it's
crashed
great.
in 2.63.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the people still comparing this against what? You know, I guess if you're comparing against a completed game like Assassin's Creed, well, Assassin's Creed, I can play all the way for more than 30 minutes. But
Yeah.
2.63, if I play longer than a half hour to an hour, it crashes. So, I don't know. I think it's a big improvement over 2.63.
It's a lot more content, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, I
love the content.
the problem is that the bugs are available, but the content's there. It's just a lot of the content
Yep.
is being hidden behind bugs because it's difficult to do things. Like they've turned off the commodity system because it's they're trying to figure out what's causing all the problems with the lag spikes and the bad FPS.
I'm not saying to play offline mode, but try offline mode. And
Please don't, because they need to test
That's-
it.
That's also against the UI.
I'm not saying to do it. I'm just saying it's been done.
Yeah.
I've seen it streamed actually by
Yep.
people.
Not supposed to do it. Doesn't help develop the game. Don't do it.
Question from Beng Chow, who asks, what one ship would make you quit Star Citizen if it got magically cut from the game?
None.
None?
Super Hornet.
Really?
Yeah, if they got rid of my Super Hornet, I don't know if I quit the game, but I'd
find
be
it
very
good
disappointed.
shit.
I would be pretty pissed, actually.
Yeah. There's no one ship that would make, as much as I love the caps and all this stuff, there's no one ship that would get rid of them.
I think if they cut the Super Hornet out, I'd probably walk away from the game for a good day or two.
See, that's the problem
This
is that
weekend I'm taking a break.
most...
I like Kamikaze's response. Hello Kitty Dragonfly.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
God.
Listen, the Meowcenaries need a mascot, and Space and Star Kitten is that mascot. Bloody mascot. Just because, again, the idea of a cute Hello Kitty being the mascot of a bloodthirsty mercenary group is just too funny to me.
I didn't bring enough alcohol for this.
Next question comes from Joe's Got More, who asks, what should the time to kill be for fighter versus fighter, midsize versus midsize, or capital ship versus cat ship, each battle group being evenly matched?
No such thing.
couldn't
Every
tell
battle's
you.
different. You
Yeah.
can't ever in combat, in space flight combat, you can never
Too
judge.
many variables.
Yeah.
I mean, you can fit different weapons. You can do it. That's like saying what's your time to kill and playing
Yeah.
like WoW.
I would be
The
pissed
time
if
to
they
kill
ever
of
did.
one character versus another in WoW. Nobody can answer that question.
Yeah, I would be pissed off if they ever put any kind of equation to that. No way.
That's more feel. It's more like how tough the base. How do the base stats stack up? And the answer is it should be easier to disable than to kill, and it should also you shouldn't, because of how death screws you over. It shouldn't be super easy to kill somebody. But if someone fucks up, it should still be easy to kill them, if that makes sense. Like
a capsule shooting a fighter should be able to insta pop it if it was lucky enough to actually hit it.
yeah. Whereas, like, if you're in FPS combat and you're getting shot at, if you get hit, you may go down. If you get headshot, you may go down and maybe you start bleeding out faster. But if you like stand still and a sniper rifle hits you and straight in the head, you're fucked, dead. Bye. Good respawn screen. You're gonna go back to where you were. Do not collect go. Do not pass go. Do not collect
I
$200.
want Fifth
Fuck.
Element resurrections in this, Paul. Don't lie. Head cut off. It can be one finger. They can take me back. They can regenerate me. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stitch Matauchi,
Yep.
in a little glass chamber.
Just
Make them a girl.
3D print me back. We can do this.
But that's the problem is we have no idea like
We don't know.
Skin.
how detailed the Death of a Statesman is going to be, though.
In
Yeah.
all seriousness, I really hope they do that though, because that would explain how many times you come back before you like cellularly degenerate, and they can't, right? Like you get 5 lives and that's it, or 10 lives, or whatever they're gonna do. If you make like Fifth Element, as long as they recovered a part of you, right? Then it's like, well, we can regenerate you, and you've lost some rep, and you've lost some of this, and blah blah blah. But we regenerate you, but you only get like 5 more chances, and that's it.
You're still the supreme being.
Yeah.
Joe Scott Moore asks, would you like to see road flares in games soon as the dark side of the moon seem extra dark? No, but I'd love to see portable lights.
Road flares?
Portable lights like a flashlight.
I like road
Yeah,
flares.
The
more like
flashlight, yes. I would like a flashlight in the game.
more like things that you could like boxes you could take off your ship and put down and press a button
That
and
would
it'd be
be
like
pretty
boop, 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 and like actually give you like that would make sense also for things like mining,
Chem
like,
lights.
or chem lights. Chem lights would work too.
Dude, I would do all sorts of cool designs in the dark.
Yeah, I'd totally.
That'd be awesome.
Draw a giant penis with your portable lights.
Rave sticks.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Yeah, it's a chem light. Yeah.
If you take the time to draw a giant penis that's seen from orbit with chem lights on the planet, I say let them do it. I mean, if you're going to take that much time to do that, why not? The effort deserves a reward.
Okay, so now Test Squadron has another mission.
Listen, we never draw penises ejaculating ever. That's not what we do. Gildas Atter asks, are there going to have any chaotic neutral NPCs or other fun characters? Yeah, that's what Miles is. Miles Eckhart is a chaotic neutral. Not only chaotic neutral, he's neutral. Lawful neutral ish. He abides by the law when it serves his purpose, but is there to make motherfucking money. He lives on the on like the edge of frontier kind of thing.
Yeah, 2000.
Or does he? Maybe we have to discover more of a story.
Exactly.
Yes. Who is?
But yeah, there'll be all sorts of types of NPCs. You'll probably have chaotic evil, like you'll probably have a mission giver who's a fucking psychopathic murderer, and who knows?
Bring me the Hawks of all.
Exactly. Like you may have a dude who's like a militia leader who's obsessed with killing Vanduul, and he's like, bring me the heads of like 17 Vanduul, and I will give you a reward. Like fucked up, like sociopath or psychopath kind of guy. Gingy Trucking asks, do you think we'll be able to control our quantum speed at all? Maybe.
Quantum's kind of quantum, though.
Yeah, but each ship is going to have a different quantum max.
It would be nice because then you can like maybe economize your fuel a little better. If you
Maybe.
But
But each quantum system is going to use quantum fuel at a different rate as well.
yeah,
Well,
it's not a bad idea.
We have to see what they do for fleet jumps if they're going to have a fleet.
I'm sure they'll have fleet trunk.
They had
What there was-
linking jumps in PTU, and they even talked about it in
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
guess-
just always crashed the server.
Well, and I
That's
guess
why
in
they
EVE
figured it out.
Online, what they do is if you're in a fleet and you actually jump, you jump at the speed of the slowest member
Ship.
of your.
Oh, that makes sense.
Next question comes from Joe Scott Moore. What kind of science type mechanics / jobs do you think we'll get? I would like to play as a science officer on a cap ship like an Endeavor, but I have no idea what that will work. Weather officer. Being able to see space things. Identifying targets and their makeups. That kind of stuff, I guess.
Yeah. It's just going to be how much content's available for you. You can do anything you want inside Star Citizen, but certain roles aren't going to be fleshed out enough for you to play an 8-hour day session.
Yeah.
To have a lot of content. If you have like 2 hours, you could probably play anything you want.
And I guarantee you there'll be things like picking up grass or plants or animals or rocks and then bringing it back to a ship and then processing to figure out how much their value is, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just whatever interests you, what can keep your interest. I'm sure anything, and you get adapt with available content-wise to your role that you want to do.
My only hope is that they don't go light on the science. They don't like, this place is habitable. Like you need to read the actual this is this much nitrogen, this much oxygen, so this is breathable, and then you can take your helmet off. Not like it's breathable. Oh. Next question
Very
comes from Thomas, who asks, any information on NPC recruitment? Will extra game packages give free NPC slots? As of last time we heard, that last part is true. We don't know about how you buy or get NPCs yet. We don't even have NPCs working yet, really. They're just kind of there.
And we still don't know, like, because they've said for a long time NPCs aren't your slaves.
No.
So we don't know if like NPCs can leave your crew. Like,
Mm.
it might be your NPC. That doesn't mean you autonomously just get to own them and do everything to them.
Part of the crew, part of the ship.
Mhm.
100 years before the mast.
Yeah. So there's a lot of questions regarding that still left to be answered.
Aw. So Joe's Got More says, can you tell Matachi thank you? Because of his channel, I now have a Cutlass Black. Thank you, Space Bro. I still love the rest of you, too. Aw. Thank you. Just not as much as Matachi, who gave you the Cutlass. Oh.
I'll be out there in a minute.
Yeah, we only got 2 more questions.
Tell Paul to hurry up.
Hurry up, Paul.
Then I can come out there.
Paul's running late. Paul's
I am running late. Last 2 questions. We got these last 2 questions.
Shame, Paul. Shame.
Shame. Keeping my 5-year-old son hungry. Come on, Paul.
Bang Chow asks, what patch iteration will we get the first taste of food, water mechanics, and effects in your character? Not too much later. Probably beta. I don't think we can see it soon. Soon TM. Yeah.
Soon.
Mr. Aimless asks, based on past sales, does the anniversary sale end on the morning of the 4th or carry through to the evening of the 4th? It'll probably end on the noon Pacific of the 4th, because that's where they've been starting.
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
With that, we're finished with a 3-hour and 25-minute captain's table.
Give the kids some pineapple pizza.
Yes.
Which tells us that no matter how few people are on the show, shorter.
It doesn't get shorter. Yeah, that's. Thank you guys all for showing up. Thank you so much, Z-Man, Nakara, Matachi, and Miss Hearts for being here. If you guys are here, follow all of them. And for those of you guys who are watching at home, at YouTube land, we do this live every Saturday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. GMT. Come on, talk, ask questions. And thank you guys all for hanging out. Love you all. And like I say every night, hope to see you guys again soon. But if I don't, hope to see you someday in the black. Have a good night, guys.
Have a good night.
Deuces.